Hello, everybody, and welcome to Phone Booth Fighting's live watching party, virtual Corona quarantine style. Myself, Richard Hunter. That's Frank Mir over there, UFC veteran, and he's holed up at his house. I'm holed up at my house. We're getting ready for the main card to start. But Frank, just as we signed on live here, Cowboy Cerrone and Anthony Pettis went to a decision. Real quick before we see whose hand is raised, who do you like?
Man, it's really, really close. This fight could go either way. I think maybe a couple of the takedowns there from Cerrone might be the difference, just because both of them landed some pretty big shots on their feet. I'm still trying to watch the replay right now to see if the one significant shot that looked like Pettis landed, Cowboy was complaining it was an eye poke. So that makes a huge difference in that round, whether that was an eye poke or not,
Yeah, real late in the third. Now, we got the volume turned down so we don't violate any piracy rules, but so we won't really be able to tell right away if it's a split or unanimous, but we'll see whose hand is raised here. Bruce Buffer's reading the scorecards to an empty arena in Jacksonville, Florida, and the winner is Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis. All right. Well, close fight, like you said. Could have gone either way, but we'll have to get a look at the scorecards and see how that broke down. A rematch, 7 years in the making. Pettis now is 2-0 against Cowboy. But if you're looking for a moral victory where Cowboy is concerned, he definitely probably redeemed himself in his own eyes in terms of how disappointed he was with the Conor McGregor fight, because that was a close fight and went to distance.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that, it showcased that, in the first fight he got caught, Pettis is dangerous and still dangerous. It was a close fight. He was throwing some pretty powerful strikes in there. I think the difference with some of the hand shots that he landed seemed to land more significance and had more reaction. Cowboy keeps grabbing his face pretty early on in the fight. That cheekbone seems to be kind of an issue. I wonder how much of a, detriment that is in his career now if he's taken, some permanent damage there.
Was that the same side that he felt like it looked like he got the eye poke on at the end of the fight? I wasn't sure if that was the same side or not.
Yeah, I think it was the same side that he thought maybe the eye poke occurred.
Yeah, so maybe an eye poke, maybe a shot that's just bothering him or something in that area. All right. Are we going to have to flip our remotes back to?
Yeah, that's why I really thought that last round. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. The last kick, too, that he landed the head was probably the most significant shot of that round, But then I guess that punch wasn't counted as a punch to the eye, and it was a strike, so it evened it out. And, that's why it was such a close fight.
Yeah. All right, so I'm switching over to my you may have to flip. Frank is new to the ESPN Plus app, by the way. So is this your first maiden voyage with the ESPN Plus app?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I just have it on there the whole time.
We'll see how that goes.
Keep it on the...
but I think you have to, within the app, flip over to the pay-per-view main card portion of the show. So I'll give you a second to do that. And I'll explain to everybody what we're doing here as people are jumping into the chat. They're streaming us on our phone booth, YouTube and Facebook pages. Frank and I do this podcast called Phone Booth Fighting. September is going to be yours. So if you're new to the party, it's good to have you, and you got 5 years worth of archives to catch up on. If you are checking this out on YouTube or Facebook, for that matter, please like and subscribe to the page. We would very much appreciate that. Like and subscribe, and we'll be happy to provide you with our Phone Booth Fighting content. There we go. Okay,
I lost you, Richard.
Right now, did you pull it up on your screen? You still have me? You still there, Frank? Oh, we may have hit a little early glitch here. Frank, you may have to go back to hardwired earbuds. I'll type to him here in the chat. All right. So as I was saying, phoneboothfighting.com is the website for the podcast. And as a matter of fact, we have a couple things to tell you about through that portal. We have a banner on the front of phoneboothfighting.com that is a link to our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/phoneboothfighting. We do a bunch of extra content up there on a weekly basis. I think Frank's reconfiguring his earbuds there. If you would like to check that out, head on over to patreon.com/phoneboothfighting. And in addition to the extra content, depending on the levels that you pledge at, we've got.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you, man. You there? You hear me now? All right. Frank will be back in a second. We've got T-shirts available over there. We have very special limited edition Corona Quarantine Chronicles stickers that we are sending to everybody who is a subscriber to our Patreon page at any level. And also at in our phoneboothfighting.com store for tonight and only tonight. If you use the promo code UFC 249, that's promo code UFC 249, with the purchase of any T-shirt, Frank and I are going to send you a absolutely free signed poster. So go over and check that out. I'll be putting up more information about that a little bit later on. But once again, inside the phoneboothfighting.com store tonight only, purchase a T-shirt and use the promo code UFC 249. We'll send you a free signed poster. All right, Frank, you all squared away? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think it just sometimes it cuts out. I got to just sign out, sign back in.
Yeah. All right. Let's while we're waiting for the main card to get rolling here, let's check in the comments section and see. We got early comments from folks. California Love, good to see you again there. He says it's time, which of course is the mantra of Bruce Buffer. How about a let's see here. How about a comment question? Here's Maria checking in. She's wanting to know if that was an eye poke that Cerrone took. What do you think, Frank? You got to see the replay. That was a little hard for me to tell.
I couldn't tell. They didn't really focus on it too much. The truck didn't grab it. They must not have had a good camera angle on it. From what I just saw on the production side, for them not to put it out there. Usually they're pretty good about doing that, but if anybody has a still shot they want to send to us, I couldn't tell whether one way or another. But Cowboy's not he's fought a lot of fights. He's never been somebody that tried to take advantage of any kind of rules or inattentional movement.
Yeah,
I kind of believe him. If he says it was an eye poke, I'm going to say it's an eye poke.
Yeah, he definitely thought it was. You could tell by his reaction. David says close fight between Cerrone and Pettis. Yep, that's what Frank and I were saying as well.
I don't understand about that. We got to ask maybe next time I talk to Big John about that. If the fighter has a punch hit him somewhere in the face, and it's not on the chin, it's obviously in the eye area, you have a veteran like that reacts that way. Shouldn't the referee just give the benefit of the doubt that obviously you got poked? I mean, if you start using that in your career, you're going to develop a reputation for doing that. It'll probably come to haunt you. But when you've had over 30 fights with an organization and you're not known to do that, right, and something happens and you sit there and very visibly are, agitated with something that might have got in your eye and it's an unintentional eye poke, don't you just stop it to check him out? You know what I mean? Especially in a very close fight. I don't know. That's what I think would be a better call in this situation.
Yeah. Ramey says, what did you think of the Verdum fight? I had you and I both took Verdum by decision in that fight. But I thought for, at least in the first round, I thought Olenek might finish him on the feet. I mean, all the grappling really belonged to Verdum. And if he had a case to be made for winning the fight, it was going to be on the ground, because on the feet, Olenek really had the best of him. And that part of it was definitely not what I expected. What about you?
Yeah, Verdum looked really bad on his feet. He's looked a lot crisper in the past, a lot better there. But then once he started hitting his takedowns, getting the fight to the ground, he looked like Verdum. Great top control, great pressure. In all honesty, I do agree with the decision, because I think that he lost the first round. Verdum gave it to Olenek. In the second round, Olenek got taken down, but Verdum, didn't get him like locked into a submission that was very close or anything. And in fact, with 45 seconds left, they got back up to their feet. And Olenek finished that round very strong, almost on his back against the cage, landing shots. And Verdum almost looked, distressed again, And that's why I gave him that second round, because I felt that even though he got the takedowns, he didn't really do much with him. It wasn't like he beat him up. He didn't almost lock up a submission. The third round, I definitely gave Verdum because he got so close with the Kimura. He was very close, with a couple of the attempts to the submissions. I thought it was, 2-1 for Olenek. And I think that if Verdum had just kept his hooks in and not allowed Olenek to get up at the end of that second round, it would have been 2-1 for Verdum.
By the way, speaking of submissions, Frank was taking a nap during the early prelims. But go back, Frank, and watch that Bryce Mitchell fight. Man, that was a grappling fest. He tried a twister, I think, in every round, and almost had it. He won a fight.
That's pretty impressive.
He won a fight with the twister last time he had it, but he was throwing up so many twisters and head and arm chokes. It was very impressive. Yes, it's just like when we're fighting on a card, right? And when the early prelims are going on, you're taking a nap in a locker room if you can, right? Getting ready for the main card.
Yeah. It's funny. Everybody in our society wants to brag how they operating on 3 or 4 hours of sleep. I'll be the first one to tell you that I sleep 8 to 10 hours a night, and I still take a 2 or 3 hour nap every day.
Yeah.
But that's probably why I still don't look like I'm, I look a little different than some other 40-year-olds.
That's right. That's right. That's why you still have that glow about you. All right. So what we'll do is in between fights, we're getting ready for. Are they starting with the heavyweights? I guess they're gonna. Why are they showing?
Yeah, I think.
Are they going to start with the Ngannou Rosenstruck fight? No, really? That's a feature bout. I don't know. Maybe they are. Like I said, we've got our volume turned down, so we can't really.
I put in headphones to catch in that I can do this, so that way it doesn't.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. Yeah, if you need those, you can.
If there's times we can. Yeah, let me listen to what's going on for a second.
So what we're going to off the earphones, right? No, you're good. So what we're going to do is in between fights, we'll jump back and forth to the chat because I know a lot of you guys have questions. Oh, here's somebody. Joseph wants to know, Frank, how about Mir and Alexei Olenek on Fight Island in August? You interested in that one?
Yeah, I think actually. I mean, look. Stand-up wise, I think I pair off against Verdum very well and Olenek, but I think Olenek, his grappling position. I mean, you really saw Verdum really showed him. Verdum, personally, I think would be a harder fight for him, even though tonight Olenek came out victorious. If you ask me who I would have a harder time trying to submit, it would be Verdum. Verdum doesn't get into bad positions. And you've seen, I mean, there was times I'm looking at Olenek and I'm already game planning in my head. I'm like, wow. From side control, he put his arm there. Man, if you did that with me, I would choke you unconscious, Yeah. And so, what? I know. If you want to watch, Bella, are you watching the fights? You can sit here if you want. I got it on the iPad. Yeah, I didn't see that when I was still sleeping. Bella's going to jump in with us.
The next generation.
They won't hear you, but you can hear what Richard's saying. Or
the next generation of fighting mirrors.
That way I can ask you questions about what's going on.
Bella's 16, if you're not acquainted with her. She'll be making a guest appearance here. Frank's eldest. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, so yeah, Verdum is still the harder fight. I mean, his stand-up, man, it did not look good. To get beat up by Olenek on your feet, that's a bad sign. Olenek has notoriously bad stand-up on his feet. He's known as a submission artist that's pretty one-dimensional. But, I didn't call that. In fact, if you go back and listen to our Call the Fights, I thought that Verdum in the past, I mean, he stood with Travis Brown. He stood 4 rounds with, Stefan Struve. I mean, the guy has had good stand-up. I mean, he went 3 rounds with Roy Nelson and won a decision. And, and Roy, if Roy would have caught him with some of the shots that Olenek was catching him with, he would have won. And so I was very surprised that, Verdum's stand-up did not do that well, but his takedowns and his grappling game is still exactly where I thought it would be. You've seen that he was never really in bad position, even when he had back positions and he had the hooks in. If he thought he was about to lose it, he would dump it off, or even when he pulled guard, he was already on the attack. And Olenek never really, if anything, got in trouble by being inside Verdum's guard. He got reversed with that Kimura that was really close for Verdum finishing it, and that was one of the reasons why I thought Verdum definitely won the 3rd round.
Yeah, we're going to, by the way, they are starting with Hardy and De Castro. De Castro is a Tuesday night Contender Series vet, so we'll be starting with that here in a minute. Oh, Ramey said, too, that Bryce Mitchell teaches wrestling at his gym. Well, Ramey, you tell him from me, and probably from Frank, too, after he watches the fight, that was a very, very impressive display. Derek saying that my beard looks great. Thank you very much, Derek. It is the envy of the other half of Phone Booth Fighting, Frank Mir. I have to keep pointing that out because as I was telling Ricky Rocket on last week's episode, the ways that I can one-up you in the manliness department, Frank, are few and far between. But this is one where I got you.
It definitely got me check marked off. In fact, I got a lecture from Bella the other day. Because obviously, I don't have to shave as much right now because of the situation with quarantine. She was letting me know that she goes, well, Dad, I wouldn't mind if you grew it out if the facial hair on the side matched what you had on your goatee. I'm yep, I look like a conquistador. She goes, hey, you look like a pirate. I didn't go here.
By the way, I am broadcasting from the catwalk here at the Hunter Hacienda. The upstairs portion of the house belongs exclusively to the feline, so I'm up here. And I don't know if you can tell what I'm sitting on here, Frank, but just to add authenticity to the broadcast, I'm broadcasting sitting on Dan Hardy's old couch.
Oh, that's cool.
So just a little Phone Booth Fighting trivia for you there. Dan Hardy's old couch is the main furniture up here in the catwalk here at the Hunter household. Oh, hey, Vanessa, one of my Went to Warrior competitors, fellow competitors is checking in. Good to see you, Vanessa. Thanks for watching the fights with us. Just training with you. Everybody check out wenttowarrior.com. You've heard me talk about it before. If you've ever wondered what it was like to be able to participate in an actual cage fight, the opportunity will be there for you once we get and I recommend that for everybody. Oh, so one of our listeners says hi to Bella there. Frank Kane checking in, so you can pass that on.
Oh, James says hi.
So it looks like we are getting ready to start here with Jorgen De Castro and Greg Hardy. De Castro is undefeated. 5 of 6 wins have come by knockout, but this is one of those, I guess until further notice, Frank, I mean, they are determined to make a star out of former NFL player Greg Hardy. And, there don't seem to be in a rush to pit him against any top contenders here. I mean, I don't want to be too hard on De Castro, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, the couple of fights that Hardy has actually had in the UFC, to me, have clearly been geared toward maybe not gimme victories, but let's give this guy every opportunity to win a fight. You think I'm being too nice. You're going to call it a gimme victory, right?
I think they're completely gimme ones. I mean, there are guys that basically can say they have fought in the UFC now that never would have been able to fight in the UFC against any other heavyweight that got brought in specifically to fight Greg Hardy.
Yeah. I'm going to give a couple of time cues, by the way, in case anybody is not watching this with us live. Maybe they go back and watch the video tomorrow or the next day, just so you can know if you are watching the fight along with us where we're at in the broadcast. So right now, Greg Hardy is hugging his cornerman. He's about to get the Vaseline put on him and from the cut man, and then he'll be stepping into the cage. And I'll give you the cue when the first round actually starts. So Hardy has won all 5 victories by first round knockouts. Maybe not a complete surprise given the caliber of competition like Frank was just talking about, but they can't do that with him forever. I mean, if he keeps winning, and especially if they're going to keep putting him on pay-per-view cards, Frank, sooner than later the competition's gotta be upped, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, for people to start buying legitimacy in it, I think they're almost kind of taking the boxing approach with Greg Hardy, where you'll see guys have, in boxing 20 fights, 15, 20 fights, and not fight anybody but tomato cans. And not anybody of substance until, the money starts rolling in and they built the guy up. Where usually in MMA, they don't do that. You get thrown to the wolves pretty quickly. And that's why you don't really see a lot of undefeated records. You don't see guys with perfect records because it's difficult. Your learning curve is against other guys that are phenomenal. And so usually no one's protecting you. It's bull against bull. And Hardy's definitely, I get it. He's definitely a financial asset, I guess, to the UFC, and they're looking to, protect him more.
The Castro's given up 5 inches in height and 6.5 inches in reach in this fight. That reach could definitely come into play here with a couple of big hitters. Yeah. All right, we're waiting for. Looks like Bruce Buffer's getting the introduction. What's that flag? You know that flag?
Yeah, I was wondering. Are they having to say what the flag is, Bella, on the audio for De Castro? Yeah, I mean, definitely a good thing because, De Castro doesn't look like he's much of a grappler, which, every time I've seen anybody even grab Hardy's legs, he doesn't have a clue of what to do. Throwing a 1-2 is basically his going to be his repertoire besides, the knee. And so we'll see what he's able to do as far as, if De Castro stands up with him, then 6'5" versus 6 foot versus 80-inch reach versus 74. It's a good matchup for strikers to be in that position.
By the way, Frank, a little geography lesson for our viewers. That flag behind De Castro is the flag of the island nation of Cabo Verde.
Oh. They caught him with the right hand right off the bat. And again, nice chopping kicks coming there from De Castro, which is good on a taller guy who's trying to focus on that jab. Man, right now, De Castro looks like the tighter of the two strikers. And if that's one thing that, that Greg Hardy has the potential to have a devastating jab. He has such a long reach, powerful long arm, and if he steps into it, but if you can really start throwing that low kick when he steps in, you can really dismantle someone's jab very easily in MMA. And right now, Hardy's not really seeing those punches, really. He moved away from his body, but he didn't see the actual strike coming. Yeah, honestly, now it's just going to be about conditioning. I like what I see from De Castro. There's some potential to be pretty good. Staying loose and relaxed, not burning energy. And every time Hardy comes in as the taller guy, but you don't really want to do that. He's overcharging his distance, and that's why De Castro is firing over. He's moving his head, firing the right hand, left hook, or he moves the other way and fires the left hook, right hand, or he chops the leg kick. So he's coming up with 3 different defenses right now against Hardy's jab. So Hardy's not really picking up on that yet. And right now, Hardy needs a jab feint and come back with the right hand and try to pull him, not fully committed to that first jab. Throw it out there to get Castro to fire off his offense so that when Castro finishes firing off, then Hardy can line up maybe that right hand. He's eating a lot of leg kicks, and those are some heavy legs. Yeah, play for the Panthers, I think. Yeah. Man, and see what now is going on is Hardy's throwing one strike at a time. As soon as he throws a strike, Castro's doing a phenomenal job of just checking it, blocking it, evading it, and then taking off and countering immediately before Hardy's able to regroup or fire off his second shot. Right now, Hardy needs to either be more off rhythm on his entries to set off that. Right now, he's fighting a guy who's purely counter fighting him. He's allowing him to go first. And when he goes first, okay, you're going to throw your shot. Now I'm going to throw my shot. And that leg, I don't know, that's going to be an issue going into the third round if it goes that far. Yeah. What is he taking? Probably about 5 to 7 solid kicks to that outside of the leg there. That's one thing I don't like he's doing there on Castro's side. He's running at him in a straight line with his head right there, center line. That could be a problem. If Hardy stops running backwards and just fires a straight right hand, Conor McGregor style, which I mean, obviously won't look as good as what Conor does, yeah. But he's going to run right into it. Now it's basically like you running into a javelin, and you run full force and it's coming right at you.
What is the call on you? What does it say?
I'm sorry. What's that now?
What does the clock say for you right now? The timer on the fight?
113, 112, 111, okay. 110.
You're like 5 seconds ahead of me. I'll catch up here. Oh, whoa. Jeez. Now we're getting with it with about a minute left to go in this first round. To me, I would think there's got to be a psychological tick possibly with Hardy, knowing that every time he has won in the octagon, he's finished with a first round knockout. And anytime he has gone past the first round, he loses. I mean, for a fighter that's still this new to the sport, do you think there can be a little bit of a psychological wall you could hit there?
Wait until you see this right hand that's about to come.
Oh.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah. Did you catch that, Frank? What I said though about, the fact that every time he has had a good night, he's finished his fight in the first round. And being new to the sport, you get past that, and I wonder if there's a little bit of a psychological, barrier you could hit there.
No, there can. I mean, it happened to me in my career because all my fights very early on were first round submissions, and when people started getting out of the first round with me, there is a sense of panic. And then if you're not successful the first time, then the next time you get out of the first round, you're like, oh no, the last time I was here, this wasn't a good thing. And so it takes just experience of going over and doing it again. And the only way he's going to get past that is what's happening right now. There's no amount of training that's going to, replicate what it feels like to go into a second round with a fighter, besides being there in front of a crowd, limited crowd, and sitting on a stool, getting ready to go to the next round. And then after you've done it enough times, it's you become used to it.
Yeah. ZJ101 wants to know if we think Hardy is getting exposed. I wouldn't call it that. I mean, that to me was what it looked like in the Volkov fight, when it was like, okay, this is what's going to happen when somebody comes in with a skill set that he's not really prepared for. I wouldn't say that, but I would definitely say that Castro has an inroad with those leg kicks you were talking about.
Yeah, right there. I mean, his corners told him. I mean, and right now, that's going to start affecting. And you see how Castro pointed his knee and kept his foot down. That hurt Hardy's leg. If you kick a guy in the leg and his foot stays down and he points his knee at you, it crushes your shin. I mean, I've seen guys get their legs broken that way. I think we all have. We saw the Anderson Weidman fight. You don't want to kick a guy who points his shin at your kick and has his foot on the ground, because now he's structured, he's framed in, and that's what Castro's doing to block the kick, the right leg kick of Hardy. But Hardy has done nothing to block the kick of Castro, and you can't do that. I mean, we all eat kicks in the fight, but you can't eat multiple kicks. You have to, at a point when your fighter's going for it, I remember when I fought Mikko Krokop, he landed a phenomenal kick on my leg. The next one he threw, I checked it with my shin, going, no, the first one you got, that's fine. You're not going to land another one of those things because, you know, it'll eat you up. Yeah, right now, I mean, the only thing on DeCastro's part, I mean, he is the shorter guy, so, you know, he's not making a lot of the first movements that, you know, but he's doing more effective damage with the strikes to the leg. And, you know, in the first round, those counter shots, really, there was only probably one 15-second window, I think, with about a minute left that Hardy took charge. But I give the first round completely to DeCastro.
Yeah. What do you make of Hardy's posture where he kind of bends over, he kind of leans into his opponent like that? I mean, that helps make up a disadvantage if you're a shorter fighter. That's kind of what you were alluding to earlier, right?
Yeah, well, what it is that he's, you know, he's played football. It's a very forward driving sport, the position he played, you know, playing DN on the defensive line, driving forward. So he's used to coming forward, shoulders over his knees, driving into people, you know, trying to get past them, trying to get over the shoulders, around the shoulders, or through their sternum, you know. And so right now when he's fighting, that's where right now he feels athletic. He feels athletic, leaning his shoulders over his knees. Now, all good people at home that know striking are going, hey, that's not a good idea. You're really bringing your chin really close to a guy's face. There are times you do that. You've seen, you know, like, you know, Adesanya or you know, even, you know, Anderson Silva was a master of that. He would bring his face over his knees, but it was a bait. It was a sucker play. It's like, here, go for my face. Yeah, it's there. And then he would pull his head back. You would extend yourself and be exposed. And now he would be over his hips, ready to tag you viciously. That's not what Hardy's doing. Hardy's just, that's where he feels athletic. Because, I mean, he's played football a lot more than he's fought. So he's still trying to make the transition of being a fighter. And he's using his athletic prowess that he's acquired from football.
We're about 2 minutes left into the second round. Time check for everybody. There's a couple of people in the chat asking. I think they want to make sure they're synced up with us.
Yeah, I'm at 138, 137, 36, 35, 34.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, the first rule of criteria in judging a fight is effective damage, right? I mean, what's been more effective in this fight than that kick to the leg of Greg Hardy? You know, he hasn't landed anything of significance. I mean, DeCastro's face looks like there's not a mark on it. So, I mean, he's landed shots, but obviously nothing of significance. He hasn't really wobbled him. He's throwing a lot, but as far as who's doing the damage, you got to give it to DeCastro. He's done the damage, you know. And then even his punches, Hardy's flinging his head around, which are actually kind of helping him. But that's a catch-22. You roll with punches at times, and it does take some power off of it. But it depends on how the judges are looking at it. You know, they might see that as a power punch because of how much your head split to the side. You know. He's getting confident with the jab. Again, I would throw the kick if I was DeCastro. That's a good job. Hardy's being much more, there you go, bouncing on his toes, being more elusive on when he's coming forward so that DeCastro has a harder time timing that kick.
Yeah.
And that's, see there, see that shake? That's actually what he should have done right off the bat. As soon as he realized he had a guy that wanted to attack that lead leg, you have to shake. You have to feint. You have to throw off his timing. And so that's what, wow, we really got to talk about Greg Hardy. Has the worst overhand right I've probably ever seen.
Yeah, he just threw
like, I don't, like, that's twice now he's just thrown it. And, like, I don't even think, oh, that was good there. He pulled his leg back to not take the kick, right? And it caught DeCastro right on the shin. That hurt. And that actually, that's a good thing for Hardy because that psychologically takes away from DeCastro's, you know, enthusiasm to throw that kick because he threw that kick and his body felt pain.
Is that something that Greg Hardy can use as kind of an alternate way to check a kick?
No, that put him in such bad position. You can step and switch away from a kick, but what he did was that's what he was trying to do, but he got caught halfway in between the kick, right? And it caught him on the shin. The problem with that is if DeCastro is good enough to realize that you are so squared up when you do that, if I were to see my opponent doing that, then I would attempt a low kick as they're pulling their leg back and they square up to me. You're just going to come in with a barrage of hand techniques, and they're going to completely be caught, basically standing right in front of you with their feet squared.
Jeep ZJ wants to know how close is the fight? Is DeCastro winning? You got both rounds for DeCastro, Frank? I do.
Yeah, I do. I think just, I can't think of anything besides being busy that Greg Hardy has done in the first 2 rounds to equate him winning the rounds. He's moving around, he's bouncing forward, but as far as effective strikes being landed, and this has been a pure kickboxing match at this point, so DeCastro's landed the more significant strikes to that leg. I mean, it's visible, it's red. Greg Hardy's hurt. You can see the way he's wincing on it. I got to give it to Castro at this point. And now this isn't a good sign, because that's the only thing that was kind of keeping Hardy in the fight, was at least he was moving forward and DeCastro was kind of backing up and Hardy was throwing more. So at least to, fans at home, like, well, he's busier, he's moving forward. But if he starts moving backwards and keeps taking damage, then there's not going to be anything you can make a case for him to win the round.
Just into the second minute of the third round here between Castro and Hardy. Joseph says, no disrespect to these guys, but after the Luque Vicente and Nico Price fight and the Bryce Mitchell fight, it's a shame that this got billed over there. Yeah, that sort of thing happens with fight cards, and not just because you got a guy like Greg Hardy who they want to try to build into a star, and obviously they do. They're heavily tied in with the ESPN platform. Greg Hardy's going to be a known commodity over there. And the other part of that, Frank, is a lot of times the matchmaker is going to want to put at least one really hotly anticipated fight to close out the prelims, like Anthony Pettis and Donald Cerrone. That's the kind of thing that tends to make people want to buy the pay-per-view,
Yeah, I mean, this could turn around the round completely for this round right there, I was actually probably starting to go for Hardy, just because of busyness. Castro wasn't landing much. He really wasn't throwing a lot. So this round's pretty even right now, in my opinion. If anything, I'm going towards Hardy. And with that, I don't know if that was a knockdown or a slip, but he's on his back right now. And if Hardy just jumps on him with 2 minutes left, he'll secure the round, and he could possibly TKO him. I don't know how good DeCastro is on his back, and it's not looking pretty at the moment.
It looked like a slip to me, but now Hardy is, they're playing the game a little bit. Hardy looked apprehensive to want to get anywhere close to DeCastro's guard. He's doing just enough staying busy to keep Herb Dean from standing up DeCastro, but I don't know how much longer that's going to last, because they got another minute and a half still left in the round.
Yeah, I don't know why Hardy. Wow. You have a guy like DeCastro, has very limited grappling, it looks to me. Why not engage on the ground and I don't know.
Yeah, Hardy's gone ahead and told Herb Dean to stand him up now, so that's what's happened.
Yeah, this round actually probably is going to, right now, this is the first round that I'm giving to Hardy, because I can't say that either guy's landed anything of significance, really. Maybe that punch was a knockdown slip, I don't know, but he's been busier. DeCastro has really kind of slowed down, and his mouth's not open. It doesn't look like he's dying from cardio here, but he might just have really good game face. Yeah, I hope he doesn't think that he's done enough to win the fight easily, right? Because hey, these are judges' decisions.
Somebody mentioned in the chat a minute ago, pretty good cardio for a couple of big guys. I think that was Vanessa, and that's true. For guys who are fairly unknown commodities, you do look for that sort of thing, and neither one of them are breathing too heavy out of their mouths at this point, I don't think.
Yeah, but for this kind of fight, they haven't pushed against each other. There's been no grappling in it. That really tests the person's lungs. Kickboxing or a striking match this distance, that's easier for people. Maybe De Castro busted his foot up on that one kick when he steps back. Because I don't think he really threw that much more low kicks after he kicked the shin of Hardy.
Might have just been some dumb luck on Hardy's part, like you said, trying to pull that leg back and inadvertently may have just had it in a perfect position.
Yeah, I got 2 rounds to 1. I got De Castro winning rounds 1 and 2, and then Hardy winning the third round.
I will concur with that. Oh, hey, here's our original producer, Travis, checking in, Frank. Travis says, not sure what I'm more upset about, Greg Hardy fighting in the UFC or the governor of Nevada ruining Richard's legal horror story. Okay. Well, hopefully all the Nevada brothels will be back to business here. I tell you what, it was so weird, Frank, hearing Governor Sisolak here in Nevada the other day, just the words coming out of his mouth that brothels will not be a part of phase 1 reopening. This is the only state in the nation where the governor says something like that. It's funny.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to get a decision.
I can't hear it at all. So no, go ahead. Keep it in. You have to, what are the scores?
Yeah. Let's see here.
30-27?
Yeah,
what? Wait a minute. Were they 30-27 rounds?
I did not. I've got my volume down, so I didn't hear that part.
Oh.
I'm just getting – what? They just gave this fight to Greg Hardy. And did Bella say that one judge gave all 3 rounds to Greg Hardy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
No.
I usually get these scorecards emailed to me, so the UFC PR team usually puts those in emails. So I'll keep checking the emails and as we continue the broadcast here. So Greg Hardy is doing his post-fight victory speech there with Joe Rogan. Let's see here.
Yeah, Bella's telling me that she heard them say 30-27.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Remy says it was painful to watch. Yeah, I'll tell you what it was. It was definitely not main card worthy, especially with the fight card that this has been so far. Frank, we've talked about the fact that because of all of the Corona quarantine going on and the fact that the UFC has not been able to do a fight card for 2 months now, there's a backlog of good fights. One of the inadvertent benefits of this is going to be that the fight cards you're going to see for the foreseeable future are going to be more stacked than they would be if they were more, the fights were more spread out over more cards. And so you take all that into consideration and you take Greg Hardy's name out of it. Yeah, that probably definitely belonged on prelims. All right. Well, we're waiting for our next fight to start here, Frank. I'll remind everybody once again that if you head on over, check out our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/phoneboothfighting. You'll see all the bonus content that Frank and I throw up there on a weekly basis. We'd love to have you be a member over there. There's different levels to join up at, and we got some free gifts for you if you join up at any level. And then depending on what level you do sign up at, we got some additional perks. Also, phoneboothfighting.com, the website. Check it out. In fact, I think I can share a little bit of it here on the screen. Let me do that here. And sorry, I'm having to talk and produce at the same time.
Did our fans at home pretty much see the same fight we saw?
Yeah, I don't see anybody that was making a real case for this being a 30-27 victory for Greg Hardy. You're getting a little bit of a preview of the Phone Booth Fighting website there on your feed. Be sure to head over there and check it out. All our archived episodes are up there. Videos, also all of our sponsor links, which includes, I'm showing them to you right now, the Amazon banner, which is a great way to support the show. You click through that Amazon banner, and you can do all your shopping on Amazon.com just as you normally would. No extra cost to you, but because you click through that banner at phoneboothfighting.com, they give us a little bit of a kickback on your purchases. The Amazon folks do, so that benefits us. And then right below that, the American Shaman CBD link. You want to tell everybody about that, Frank?
Yeah, American Shaman is the CBD that I use, and I love it. It's been the first one I took advantage of that I really felt a huge impact, and it's helped me out tremendously. Check it out, and check out their website, and you can see the different products they have. I use the tincture and the cream religiously, and the fish oil.
There you go. There's a little commercial endorsement from your buddies here at phoneboothfighting.com. Also, one more mention that if you do go to the store at phoneboothfighting.com, you purchase any T-shirt from us tonight, only use the promo code UFC249, and we will throw in a free signed poster that will be delivered to you. It's fun getting packages in the mail. It's always fun, but especially while you're Corona quarantined, I get real excited when the Amazon delivery guy shows up. Gotten anything fun in the mail since you've been stuck at home, Frank?
No, Jen, no. Just the Amazon guy and I are friends, but that's not because of what I order.
All right, maybe I'll have to send you something. All right, just waiting for they're what do they preview? Oh, they're previewing Walt Harris and Alistair Overeem. That fight's going to be it's going to headline here in I can't remember which fight comes first. I think this is the third of the three that we're getting in the Jacksonville trilogy, but that's 9 days away or something like that. It's going to be a lot of fights in a short period of time here from Jacksonville. That's your weight division. Who do you like in that fight? You like Walt Harris to dethrone Overeem there?
You know what? Overeem is a tricky guy, man. He's a savvy guy that's very skilled. It's hard to always bet against him, but Walt is a very big, powerful striker, long range, and it's gonna be a tough fight. I'm be watching. I'm curious. I don't know if I'm really leaning one way or another right at this point.
Hey, I was going to ask you something when the Olenek Verdum fight was going on, because everybody's got their eye on Olenek's all-time submission stats. He's only 2 behind you in the UFC heavyweight division. You got the all-time record for heavyweight submissions with 8. He didn't do anything to further that tonight. He's still tied with Stefan Struve at 6. But this did occur to me earlier in the night when Vicente Luque beat Nico Price. It was pointed out that he is creeping up on Matt Hughes is second in the welterweight division all time for finishes, and Luque is creeping up on him. I think he's only a couple behind him. But, now there's so many more fight cards than there were back in the days of most of, the time that Matt Hughes fought. And I was thinking about that. Like how Major League Baseball has the dead ball era. They talk about, Babe Ruth hit all these home runs, but he hit it in an era where whole teams weren't hitting as many home runs as he hit. Do you think that when people debate greatness in MMA history, that's going to have to be taken into consideration? The fact that somebody put up stats back when there weren't nearly as many fight cards to fight on, and that is going to end up being a little more impressive?
I think it's going to be hard just because, on the flip side of it, you can argue that because of the scope of MMA now, the level of competition is that much higher. So you can go back and forth on it. More opportunities, but now the level of fighters are more world renowned. You're fighting guys that are the world's best from Dagestan, from Sudanese, from Shanghai. Everybody, all the best fighters in the world. We were international before, but it wasn't as mainstream as it is now.
That's a good point. Yeah, there's definitely two sides to that argument. Dinner here saying Denier. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. He said he thought those judges were high that gave it to Greg Hardy. Maybe they're suffering. Hopefully, they're not suffering some sort of coronavirus symptoms. I don't know if that makes you
fevers, right?
or anything. Yeah. By the way, the UFC is marketing face masks. They're promoting this on the website. You'd figure if they're selling UFC face masks that they just go ahead and have everybody wear them, if nothing else, for product placement.
True, if they have them yet. It's been kind of hard to get face masks.
Well, that's true. Maybe they just have the prototypes. Hey, I just now noticed, now that it got a little darker at your place, we're wearing the same Phone Booth Fighting t-shirt. We didn't even plan this.
No, we didn't.
Not even plan this. We have multiple designs available at phoneboothfighting.com, but Frank and I are in agreement that this is both of our favorite designs, right? This is my favorite one.
Absolutely. Yeah, mine.
This is the one that Frank wears on his trunks when he fights.
Yeah, it is. That's my favorite one. It was a good one. Basically, it was you came up with it.
Yeah.
Ouija board idea.
That's why it's so awesome.
Yeah. You're creative.
By the way, if anybody, I just saw a flash of Frankie Edgar there. This just came to me off the top of my head. But if you go over to Frankie Edgar's Instagram, there was a great video of him. You know, he has 2 sons and a daughter, and the daughter is the baby of the family. And I think she lost her first tooth. And there's video of her, like her mom is pulling her tooth and she's crying and, freaking out about it and everything. And they videoed the whole thing. But what made me laugh about it is that Frankie's son, one of her older brothers, who's not very old himself, I'm sure he's like 7 or 8 or something, is just laughing hysterically at this drama. I was like, now, see, that's what I missed out on, not having any siblings. The older sibling who can ridicule the younger one when they're dealing with something traumatic like that. It's a funny video.
Definitely helps you out to have siblings. You do a lot of battling before you ever step into the schoolyard.
Yeah. Joe D asks if Wednesday's event will go on with Jacare's positive test. Yeah, I mean, not only is tonight's fight card going forward, but I've heard not a whisper about the UFC canceling any of the other 2 cards or fights on those cards. They have. Now let's keep an eye on it, because the whole story may not be told as far as anybody that got exposed or personnel or anything like that, but we'll see. Hopefully that'll be all there is to it. All right, Calvin Cater is walking to the cage right now. He's going to be taking on Jeremy Stevens while they're doing the ring walks here. I'll just take a quick look, see if there's any other comments we want to work in. All right, quick question for you, Frank, from Rich. Who do you wish you would have gotten to have fought more, Randy Couture, Cain Velasquez, or Fabricio Verdum, if you had to pick one?
Well, I mean, in the era that I grew up, Randy Couture, that guy's a legend in our sport. An opportunity to go in there and face somebody like that, not that Cain and Verdum are not going to be legends themselves, in generation from now, but when I first got into the UFC, that's who the champ was Randy. So, it has a different meaning to me.
Yeah. All right. So, number 9 ranked Calvin Cater stepping into the octagon. 10 first-round finishes, 10 wins by knockout. He's going to be taking on Jeremy Stevens. And Frank, I mean, when anybody says the term tough out, a lot of people consider gatekeeper to be a disparaging term. But if there's a more positive way to put it, in terms of if you're going to prove that you're for real in that division, you've got to deal with this guy at some point. Jeremy Stevens is that I have a picture of him in the dictionary next to that explanation.
Yeah, he's a tough fight, man. And somebody that, he obviously he's taken his share of lumps and he's lost to guys that have gone on to do great things. But, the guy has crushing powers with his hand. He's very well-rounded, as far as, with his grappling, keep the fight on his feet with takedowns. But, I remember, this is going back years ago, the uppercut he threw in one of his fights that he landed to a guy against the cage is still one of the most powerful punches I've ever seen thrown in a UFC fight. So, Jeremy is just, an explosive athlete who's aggressive, comes forward, doesn't really make, you really, when you have him lined up, you're in for a fight, man. There's just no other way to prepare for it. You just have to take him out and just know that you're, as the old adage says, you better bring your lunch.
This is going to be Jeremy Stephens' 46th fight. He is 28-17 in his career, and really, Frank, I mean, you're ranked number 7 himself. I mean, it's not even like he's not a highly ranked featherweight, but one of those cases, I guess, where maybe the right wins just didn't always come at the right time. He would get incredible momentum behind him, and then he would be in a top contender fight, maybe come up a little bit short that night. So maybe the title has eluded him in that sense, but boy, he's a guy when it's all said and done. He's like a Jim Miller type, like one of those guys that is just always going to have year after year been right around the middle of the pack in terms of top 10.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough weight class to be in, man. Walked around at featherweight, and he fought a lot of his career at lightweight, earlier before the featherweight division became part of the UFC. It's stacked, and you can go out there and string together 4 or 5 wins, and then you run into another guy who's strung together 4 or 5 wins. You lose, you get bounced back down, and all of a sudden now, next thing you know, you're going to fight yourself back up out of the mix again. And I think that's what's always happens to him. Every time he's just about ready to break away from the pack, he stumbles.
I still have a recurring nightmare about the possibility of Jeremy Stephens ever being in the audience at one of my stand-up shows when I tell my tattoo joke that focuses on people that have "only God can judge me" tattooed on them. See, this is why you're a better friend than I am, Frank, because if I were in your position, I would personally fly Jeremy Stephens in from wherever he needed to be in. I would put him up. I'd invite him out, make a big deal of it, and then have him right there front row and make sure I told that joke.
It's still an option. You're not old yet. I'll wait till we get really big.
Yeah, I'm going to dim my lights here for just a second. I think I've got myself washed out just a little bit. I've got my studio lights set up that may just be a tad bright for the occasion. So, yeah, that's a little better, maybe. All right, wait for ring introductions here. Thanks once again to everyone who's joined us. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you're tuning into our YouTube channel or if you're with us on Facebook, be sure to like the page. We wanted to do this to build followers and subscribers and increase awareness about the Phone Booth Fighting podcast that will be celebrating its 5th anniversary in September. So it's a good time for you guys to jump on with us. All right, here we go, Frank. Round 1 is underway. Jeremy Stephens is aggressive here.
I like how he threw his right hand and he stepped forward with the left kick, really coming forward aggressively here. And that body kick makes it hard too. That a lot of times when a guy comes forward with just hands, an option for Cater could be Cater is to change levels. Like, hey, if you come in like that, I'm going to shoot on you. But when a guy goes and follows up a head technique with his hands to your head and then throws to the body, man, you go and dive in on a shot, you run right into a shin or a knee, and it could be problems. And he's doing a good job here right now of earning back his respect and trying to, throw. That was a nice long jab. Kind of those great long punches. He has a good reach, and you can see how he uses his reach to his advantage. He really pivots and twists well so that he punches at the end of his punch. So it gives him the most distance away to land. It makes the punch the most powerful at the end. And it also gives him more distance away from Stephens to not get hit, and get out of there. Stevens is doing a better job out of the two of varying his attacks from going to the head, going to the body, going to the legs. Castro has been going to the body, you know, off of the jab, but most of his high power shots, he's thrown all headshots so far. I haven't really seen him throw anything hard to the body or the legs. He's thrown, you know, just kind of marking shots to be like, okay, let me try and get your eyes diverted in this direction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the jab to the body that he's throwing, that's not a threat, that's a setup. But if you don't throw it hard occasionally, then guys don't even bother blocking it and changing levels, and you really expose yourself. Your arm is out, and now both my hands are in, ready to throw with either.
Just past the halfway mark here in round one. Joseph points out that, oh, wait, this is a question. Oh, quick question from Joseph. He wanted to know if the quarantine has finally driven me to drink or if this is a non-alcoholic beverage. This is a micro-brewed root beer is what this is. You ever had one of those, Frank? They're very good.
I'm not a fan of root beer. I like regular beer.
Yeah. Jennifer doesn't like root beer either. You guys have that in common. Mom says I'm still white as hell. Yeah, that's true. Inside and out, I guess. Stevie made an interesting point, Frank. He said it's weird that Stevens and Cruz train together because they fight so differently. But, you know, an interesting side note about that is that, you know, they have the benefit that that camp has the benefit of having two guys on this card, and given the circumstances of quarantine and limited training partners and things like that, having two guys that are actually getting ready for a fight on the same night, that could definitely help out more so than it normally would. Don't you think?
No, absolutely, and it actually is probably a good thing for them. Wow, nice. Stevenson slipped that jab and fired that right hand right off. He's starting to take over again there, because for a second there, Castro was really taking over. You saw that left hook to the body about 30 seconds go through. Oh, beautiful straight long right hand.
Yeah, Stevens doing his best to try to steal this round.
Yeah, I got to give it to Castro so far, right?
Well, yeah.
He throws longer punches, and so he's hitting Stevenson from farther away, and that's what's causing Stevenson problem. Stevens has to get much closer to land contact. Oh, another one. Yeah, I got that first round to Castro.
Yeah.
Am I pronouncing his name properly? Castro?
I believe they say Cater.
Cater. Okay. Yep. Sorry, Cater.
Yep, that's the end of the first round.
Yeah, I got to give the first round to Cater. That was pretty good. You know, anyways, what I was going back to earlier, sometimes when you have guys with opposing styles, it's better because they're the antithesis of each other. You have a guy in the gym that wants to come forward and be on top and be aggressive. You have another guy who wants to fight going backwards and countering. Well, now both their styles actually match each other, and they both have to beat each other at what they do well. Whereas if you get two guys that, you know, they both do the same thing, it kind of makes for ugly sparring. You know, you get two counter fighters in there. It's like, hey, throw. No, you throw. No, you throw. It's like, you know, it's like, or you get two guys that are real aggressive, then they just end up hugging the whole time because it's so much forward pressure. So I personally feel that, like, sometimes it's good that your strength is the other guy's weaknesses, and then your weaknesses are your partner's strengths. It helps match you up better.
Daenerys says, great round. Got to agree with that. California Love says he pointed out that Jeremy Stevens missed weight by 5.5 pounds, giving up 30% of his purse. That's a big miss.
Yeah, I saw that, the lineup that he weighed in at 150. I figured that the UFC's commentating career could probably handle that.
Yeah.
That's a painful thing to lose.
Round two getting started here.
But Jeremy Stevens weighed in overweight, so they had to give him 30% of his purse.
Number 7 ranked Stevens and number 9 ranked Calvin Cater.
Cater does a good job. Oh, Nice angle. He threw the overhand right, came up with that nice shovel uppercut, long uppercut up that left side. Let's see again. Jeremy throws shorter punches. He doesn't twist as much with his thorax. The middle part of his spine between your shoulder blades, if you watch when he throws, his shoulders kind of move maybe to a 30-degree angle. Where you watch Cater when he throws, his shoulders almost move all the way to a 90-degree angle. And he's just like, it's almost like he's drawing back a bow. And the arm that's going forward is holding the bow. And he has the most amount of length because he twists his shoulders. That's something, I mean, and the reason why I visually pick up on that is because for the longest time in my career, I threw punches more like Stevenson, short punches, because I didn't twist properly. And then now I've learned that, oh, no, you get so much more length off of rotation of the upper body that's where you get length from.
Cater throws those punches like a coach teaching you to throw.
Yeah, Cater's upper body hand techniques are really on. His structure, and you can see how it just like he uses his feet just to move far enough out of the way so he doesn't take a lot of damage. That was beautiful there too. Wow, he changed it up. He went right hand, left rising shot. Then he switched his head to the other side. Cater did, and he came with a right uppercut, left hook. And now he just switched stance. Yeah, good job on Stevenson.
He's not only throwing a myriad of combos, Frank, but every combination that he just threw was different. It was varied.
Yeah, that's so impressive. Most guys, myself included, I have about 3 or 4 of combinations that I like, that I have tells off of. If something lands, I know what punch is coming next. Cater has a ton. I mean, the guy's like almost like, he's like a musician with just a huge repertoire of knowledge of, okay, you want to do this song, we'll do this. I mean, for him making split-second decisions and changing up the way he is. Oh! Yeah. Yeah.
Oh!
How come I'm ahead of you, man? You got to like hit live on yours.
Yeah, I know. So that's a stoppage right there. Jeremy Stevens got dropped and
beautiful right hand. I mean, that's about as perfect of as a right hand as you can throw. Full extension, length, timing, placement. I mean, foot on the ground, weight distribution. He didn't have his weight over his knee. I mean, you know, I can sit here and if tomorrow, Monday, we're teaching how to throw a right hand, then you pull this video out and we'll break it down. Like, that's how to do it.
Yeah, Jeremy Stevens was days there. Good stoppage by Jason Herzog. One of those stoppages that when you see it in real time, it
was an elbow. Yeah, it happened so fast. I thought he threw a right hand, but that was an elbow. Wow, so crushing. Well, his other right hands were perfect, and that was a perfect elbow. See how much rotation he had on it?
Oh, yeah.
He skipped forward, so all his body weight's driving forward because he lifts up that lead leg, skips in, and then drives when his left foot hit the ground. All his weight is coming down as he's whipping that right elbow down. It is, I mean, it's basically like a baseball pitcher throwing a fastball, but instead of it's all coming, landing at the point of the elbow, right on the skull of Jeremy Stevens. Wow, that's a powerful shot to take.
Stevens also ate another really powerful left elbow once Cater followed into the ground. That was another stiff shot he took before Herzog stopped it. Well, the Calvin Cater train continues to roll down the tracks. That is a big.
Yeah, that was an impressive.
Yeah. All right, Joe Rogan doing his post-fight interview. Our producer Travis, our old producer Travis there, Frank, checking in with, he's got a Marry F. Kill question for me. My options are Trump, Stevens' back tattoo, and him, meaning Travis. boy, you're gonna get me in some trouble. See, I want a Secret Service visit at my door.
Yeah, you can't say that, dude.
No, I'll tell you what I will say though. There is no question. The one thing I can answer without question in that is that I would take Travis's hand in a same-sex union as it is legal. I would be happy to call you my own, Travis. All right. Stevie says Frank seems very impressed by Cater. Yeah, I mean, that looks like I think this is a guy that's got. Oh my God! Look at that cut on Stevens' forehead. That's got to be from that left elbow that Cater dropped on him when he after he'd already dropped him. Did you see that cut?
I did.
Yeah.
No. Oh yeah, because that elbow landed right there on the teeth.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't the one that cut him.
Yeah, it was the follow-up because that was a right elbow, and then the left is what he dropped on him once he went to the ground.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
Very impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. Calvin's a real deal, man. That guy's, I can't see more fights of his coming up in the future.
That improves Calvin Cater's record to 21-4, 11 wins by knockout. If anybody's got any more questions, we can entertain those in between fights as we get ready for the heavyweights once again. Francis Ngannou and Jarginho Rosenstruck. If he wins this fight, I got to learn to pronounce his first name correctly.
Not to be that guy, but I think you might be safe.
Yeah. Yeah, Frank and I both, this was one of the easier fights for us to pick on the card. We both liked Ngannou in this fight. But, hey, I hear those heavyweights pack a punch.
They do. You know, it only takes one to change the someone's fate. But
right.
You know, I don't know if Rosenstruck is going to get lucky and 2 fights in a row. Not, you know, lucky obviously stayed in there, but you know, it was the power of the punch that turned that last fight around for him. Otherwise, he was, you know, 4 seconds away from a pretty much a unanimous decision loss to Overeem, and you know, 1 shot left, he threw. Was able to you know, keep his perfect record, but that might have actually, you know, in hindsight, like you said, put him in a situation where now he's fighting, you know, maybe a guy he shouldn't be fighting at this point in his career.
Yeah, and you know what? That's not always bad. Because sometimes, I mean, there are some fighters who are just so head and shoulders above everybody else, are just destined for greatness, and, you know, that's where they end up. But there are other fighters, Frank, tell me if you think I'm wrong, but there are fighters who I think benefit at various points just by getting on the big stage, getting on the main card. So let's say if he shows up and if he's just not completely outclassed, if it doesn't look like a total mistake to have matched him up with Ngannou, if he can just show glimpses of prowess, then that can help you later on down the line, even if you don't win a fight.
True. You know, they say there's like the moral victories. You know, you go out there and you have a good showing against a guy that everybody thought was going to run you over, and you know, you keep it close, or you make it competitive. You actually can raise your own, you know, marketability and your own, you know, your points, you know, your ranking in a loss. So you're right; those opportunities do there. You know, and personally, I've always rather be, if I had to pick who I'd be in this situation, I would rather be, Rosenstruck than
Yeah.
Ngannou, because, if Ngannou doesn't go out there and basically knock Rosenstruck out in 30 seconds or in under 2 minutes, if he goes out there and wins by decision, and it's he has or even a Derek Lewis type fight goes on tonight, Rosenstruck will actually improve in credibility, and Ngannou will actually drop down even with a victory.
That's right. I mean, Ngannou's the one with everything to lose here. This is a Daniel Cormier, Patrick Cummins kind of scenario here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Croy says, this is great. Thanks, Frank and Rich. Thank you for tuning in, Croy. We're happy to have you. If you want to pay us back, just tell a friend. That's what we ask everybody to do, is tell a friend about phone booth fighting if they enjoy mixed martial arts talk or just good conversation in general, because Frank and I spend a lot of time getting off of the MMA conversation point as well.
Yeah.
Not tonight so much, but a lot of times we do.
Just running, half naked ass.
Hey, here's a question for you, Frank, from Joe. He said, would Frank be fighting tonight after seeing how underprepared the UFC looks? Would you have any apprehensions about fighting on this card, Frank? And now that you've seen maybe like what happened with Jacare testing positive for Corona and all that, would you have any reservations about being on the card?
Well, I mean, it's the thing too that people aren't taking into consideration. It's kind of like these fighters are doing the same thing that a lot of people at home are having to take. It's like, is going back to work going to be 100% safe? Probably not. Most likely not. But, staying at home and not being paid isn't always an option either. And so I think that, a lot of these guys, even though they might not feel comfortable with the situation, what are they supposed to do? Say no, not fight, not take up the opportunity to feed their family? This is how these guys, make a living. They have to show up and fight,
Good question from Joe there. Here's a question from Rich. He says, for both guys, what's your favorite city you visited? He said he can't say his is, we can't say Vegas. Well, we both live in Vegas, so we won't say that. You have a favorite city outside of Vegas you like, Frank?
I really like Slovenia.
Okay.
That was a country. I can't think. Was it Ljubljana? I can't pronounce it, man. I was just there over in February or March. Ljubljana, man, I can't pronounce it. But the country Slovenia, and I was there. It was on my thing. That was pretty impressive. But I get to travel a lot of international places. Vienna was beautiful. I really liked that. That was an interesting place to go. As far as in the U.S., I don't know. I like the Cayman Islands. I mean, I guess it's not U.S., but down there south.
Anaheim.
Anaheim. Well, yeah. I don't know if it's because I like the city as much as I like Disneyland. No.
Frank and I are a big Disneyland fan. Man, how long? What do you think the over/under is on when we go back to Disneyland, Frank? California.
Jennifer seems to think
they're starting.
Jennifer thinks that possibly by Halloween we might be able to continue doing Halloweens there.
Mm-hmm. That might, I'd say over/under Halloween's probably a pretty good bet.
Well, because I think we're 9 years in a row now. We've celebrated our Halloweens. Oh, this would be 10th. Mm-hmm. So hopefully we don't have to.
Gavin Newsom has to be taking that into consideration. That's probably come up in.
I gotta let him know, like, hey, man, 10-year anniversary. The mayor's going to Disneyland for.
I mean, he doesn't want that PR black eye, especially on the 10-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Here's a question from Stevie. He says, when do you guys think Bellator will be doing shows again? I have a theory about this, Frank. I was sharing this with the guys over at MMA Junkie not too long ago. But tell me what you think about this, Frank. Now, I don't have any inside knowledge of the financial workings of Bellator or PFL for that matter, or any of the other promotions. But let's say you're not the UFC, okay? You're any other promotion, Bellator, PFL, whoever. Everything is probably not a moneymaker. you're still really looking to establish yourself, not establish yourself, but you're competing at a very high level, an international level, and fight cards are very expensive to put on. Don't you think there is something to be said? Let's say you're not the UFC, but you're a fight promotion that has some big names signed to it. You've got a lot of money on the line. You got a high bottom line. Something like this comes along and it actually provides you a little bit of an inadvertent kind of reset break to allow the UFC to take the lead, put all the money on the line, and you're not out of business, but it's giving you a little bit of a, it's kind of like hitting the pause button on your subscription a little bit until things get back to normal. It can actually maybe benefit you a little bit financially. I don't have any inside information on that, but logic tells me that might be the case. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to, obviously with the businesses not being able to go up, I think that they're, let's face it, Bellator is, based out of California. So California is, has been closed up more than, obviously Florida. And so they're making the, decision, or, Nevada here, we have, Zuffa's headquarters. I think they're going to take advantage of the situation of just, waiting till it's in the clear and just, just starting off slow and just resetting. And I think it gives them a good, reason for why that we've had to reset and start over.
George St. Pierre just announced as going into the UFC Hall of Fame. Can't say I have much of an argument with that one, Frank.
No.
It's an easy one.
I think they're just waiting for him to retire, really.
Yeah. All right, just waiting for our next fight to start. Ray checks in and says, hey guys, cool show, checking in, just wondering who won the fight. Calvin Cater just TKO'd Jeremy Stevens in, was that the second round? That was the second round, right? That fight we just watched. And before that, Greg Hardy got a decision over De Castro. We're waiting for the heavyweights to get started here in the feature bout. Ngannou and Rosenstruck. I'll remind everybody that tonight and tonight only over at phoneboothfighting.com, you're running a little special inside our merchandise store. If you buy a t-shirt, any t-shirt, like the ones that Frank and I are wearing, or we have some other designs, other colors available besides black. We even have a ladies shirt over there. If you purchase any t-shirt tonight, you use the promo code UFC249. That's UFC249 as your promo code tonight only at phoneboothfighting.com. We will send you a free signed poster. Remember when we sat down and signed all those posters, Frank? It looks like, for people who haven't seen them, it looks like an old-timey fight poster. We're doing the gentleman Jim Corbett. I'm trying to get on camera here where people can see it. Doing the way they used to do. Wouldn't it be weird to watch guys actually fight that way? Wait, here I go. Like this. Why do you think guys did that? Whose idea?
Helped them rotate the. I kept their elbows in because a lot of guys went for and stuff.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Headphones are out for a little bit.
That's okay.
About these, they only last for so long.
I know. I thought about using my AirPods too, and I thought there's no way they're going to last 3 hours. I got you though. Okay, so I've never heard an explanation of this, and we got a second. Why did the old timey boxers do this?
One, it helped them rotate their punches, and by keeping their elbow in, they threw a straighter punch, and it also helped protect their rib cage and their body a little bit.
Makes sense. What would be the disadvantages of doing this?
Just longer time for the punch to land.
Yeah. I also feel like I'm very open right here.
Yeah. Plus, too, I always feel like it made my biceps tight. Whenever you make a joke and you do this, it engages the biceps. So I think it's a little bit, it wears your arms out a little bit. But also, too, those guys back then, most of them were manual laborers working steel or farm hands. And so I think they were a little bit different conditioning level than what we have nowadays.
We, for that fight poster, the one I'm talking about here, the free giveaway item, if you use the promo code UFC249 at phoneboothfighting.com in our store tonight, When we did that poster, it's a sketch that an artist did, but it was done from an actual picture. And Mrs. Mir was our photographer. And we took those shirtless in the master bedroom at Mir Manor. I have to say, Frank, I don't know about you, anything you want to confess to, far and away the most homoerotic thing I ever participated in.
Yeah, and that's coming from a guy myself that, well, and now you too, has fought in front of people half naked in Valley Tudo shorts. So
yeah, that's right. All right. Well, if you're just joining the broadcast here, Frank and I have gone with the heavy favorite Francis Ngannou. We're not sticking our necks out on the betting line when it comes to this fight. But I tell you what, that they're showing it right now. That Rosenstruck punch. If the guy never wins another round in the UFC, he's always going to be shown somewhere in the UFC library for. I mean, he didn't split Alistair Overeem's lip. That's like an axe wound to your face. You ever seen anything like that? That was so weird looking.
No, I haven't. That's the worst lip injury I've ever seen.
How do you think something like that happens? Do you think it's just a 1 in a million shot, just where it lands, just so and causes something like that to happen?
Yeah, it was just so much impact on the top lip, and it just drove his lip split over the mouthpiece. Basically, just caused his mouth, the lip to burst open from the amount of pressure he was able to throw on it.
Yeah, crazy looking. All right, we should be seeing Rosenstruck and Ngannou making their ring walks here momentarily. Have you gotten used to the no people in the arena yet, or is that still weird to you to look at Megan Olive standing in front of a bunch of empty seats?
You know what? Because I don't have any volume and I can't hear.
Yeah.
That's actually probably not making me as weirded out. I think that if I didn't have the volume turned off or the headphones plugged in over there, that the noise would throw me off the most. Visually, it's for some reason the visual aspect doesn't throw me as much as it's the noise and the energy that I'm not feeling. But because it's muted, I can't hear it anyways.
Frank, here is a contrarian handicapper here in the chat room. Sean is saying Francis Ngannou will get caught at the end of 2. Sean may end up looking like the smartest person in this entire broadcast here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, there's always a chance.
Yeah.
If it lands, it lands. And if you're not right, no one's really going to think much about it because we're all going to sit there and go, well, that's pretty much how we expected it to go down, is to watch Ngannou basically knock Rosenstruck's head into the empty arena.
Stand by, Sean, because we'll give you all the credit if, in fact, that does happen. He also wants to know if you think George St. Pierre is ever going to fight again. You think he's done now? I feel like he's done.
Yeah, I think so. I think, him coming back, I don't even know how much he wanted to really fight that last time, but I think the fact that Bisping was the middleweight champ was really a phenomenal opportunity for him. Mm-hmm. When it was Weidman or when it was the kid that Weidman lost to.
Luke Rock.
I don't think, obviously, he wasn't trying to come out of retirement when they were the champs. I don't think those were good matchups for George. I think he would have lost to both, to Luke and to Chris. But I think that, Bisping was a good matchup. Somebody who doesn't hit exceptionally hard. So he knew that, he could stand up with him and he was, and as far as grappling wise, would be able to have his, an advantage in the grappling area because of his takedowns and ground and pound. And without all that being said, and the fact that, Bisping pretty much at that point in his career was fighting with one eye. Bisping was winning the fight, in my opinion. I thought he was, it was looking not very good for George. George was struggling to take him down and to hold him down. And when he finally caught him with, I think it was a left hook towards the end there, and was able to jump in on him and throw that choke in. I think, he got the win. But I don't think, there's a reason why he wasn't real keen to stay in the division and he just retired again. I think he came out, he threw a half-court shot, it sunk, and he just, I'm done for the day, and he went back off onto the bench.
Yeah. Francis Ngannou is in the on-deck circle, getting dressed down there, and then the cut man will put the Vaseline on him. Dewey Cooper is striking coach there, along with Eric Nixick, our buddy from Extreme Couture. That's where I train, and that is he is a multi-time guest on Phone Booth Fighting. Eric's a good guy and a good guest. He's the GM over there at Extreme Couture as well. I was texting him today because I noticed on one of the embedded episodes, Eric was running the playlist, the music for Ngannou's workout, and he pivoted from Muddy Waters to Madonna in an instant. And I said to Eric, I said, that definitely deserved more credit than it got. MMA gyms are usually where I go to hear really bad music. So I've always cited the efforts of Eric Nixick and Mike Hobby over there for trying to turn that damnable plague around. Sean says, wonder who gets fight of the night. Couple of contenders already. Yeah, on the undercards. I mean, you got to look at that Vicente Nico Price fight. That was terrific. The Bryce Mitchell grappling clinic. I mean, that's 3 of those 4 bonuses as possibilities right there. We'll see what happens here with the feature and the co-main and the main. All right, we're just about to get started here with Ngannou and Rosenstruck. Both guys in their early 30s, both 6'4". Ngannou's got a reach advantage by, I think I saw 5 inches. Number 6 ranked Rosenstruck, undefeated fighter.
Yeah.
And only basically a 2-1 underdog.
Well, I mean, it still showed a lot of power in that last fight with Overeem. So I think a lot of people with heavyweights, it's kind of hard to, there's always that unpredictability with the power,
Yep. Francis Ngannou being introduced now. I think it's a virtual certainty that as much as you can have a certainty in the UFC that if Ngannou wins this fight, he goes on to some kind of heavyweight title shot, either getting the winner of Stipe Cormier, if that can get made, or maybe he fights for an interim heavyweight title if Stipe can't be ready to fight within the next couple of months. That's my opinion anyway.
I agree.
We only got 1 ring card girl tonight, Frank. That must be tough for her because she doesn't have another ring card girl to be able to sit and talk with and ignore the fights.
Fight's over. You still haven't sped yours up yet, have you?
No, I can't get on it. You're right. Fight is over. Okay. Wow. That was I'm going to guess a 10-second knockout for Francis Ngannou. Man. Rosenstruck still being attended to by Dan Mergliotta. Definitely still stunned. Hasn't cleared all the cobwebs yet. Being looked at by the doctors now. I think for whatever reason, I must just be maybe my provider's just 10 seconds behind or something like that. I don't know. I'm going to try to refresh the signal here in a second as soon as we see a replay of that devastating knockout. Woo! I can't wait to watch that one back with the sound turned up, Frank. I'll bet the sound of that in an empty arena was pretty impactful. You know something? I like Ngannou. Okay, here's the replay. Call it here, Frank. What do you see?
Well, Ngannou was being smart. He was coming in behind the jab, He threw you see him here, he throws a jab, throws the overhand right. He goes a little bit off balance and just starts kind of swinging wildly. Those aren't the prettiest punches in the world, but he's so powerful that he gets away with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, sees off balance, but he catches up. And again, he whiffs that one. That punch, again, these aren't going to go down as, obviously the fight we saw before with the featherweights, Cater, that's beautiful punching, beautiful technique. Mm-hmm. That's not. But, I mean, Ngannou just physically is so gifted that those shots still, I mean, pretty or not, if they catch you, you go to sleep for a few minutes.
Yeah, that was 4 punches. The first 3 missed, and the 4th one was so powerful, it was a 1-punch knockout.
But I think that's why I still don't think Ngannou can beat Stipe. Mm-hmm. Stipe is a much tighter boxer, cleaner boxer, a good wrestler. If, for example, if Ngannou had thrown that jab overhand right and followed up with that flurry on Stipe, Stipe would have just dumped him on his butt with a double leg takedown, and he would have been on the bottom for 3 or 4 minutes, getting beat up and having a hard time getting back up to his feet. And I think Ngannou knows that, and that's why after the fight with Derek Lewis was his first fight, he was so hesitant to throw those strikes. And right now, no one's made him pay for it. Francis Stipe can make him pay for it. I think Daniel is still a threat to him, even though there's a huge size and power disparity. He wouldn't be able to do that to Daniel Cormier, because Daniel would be able to come in and grab him by the hips and possibly throw him down. I mean, we've seen Daniel fight powerful guys, and he knows how to bide his time and close the gap. We saw it when he fought the most powerful puncher at the lightweight division. Who am I trying to think of right now? He retired him.
Who are we talking about? Lightweight?
Yeah, or light heavyweight, sorry.
A light heavyweight puncher.
The strongest puncher, light heavyweight.
Who are you talking about? Who retired? Cormier?
Yeah.
Oh, Anthony Johnson. Rumble Johnson. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. I lost you I understand. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and Anthony is a faster version that hits extremely hard too. And we saw, so again, Francis, obviously all he has to do is touch somebody and they're going to go out. But he's still just, because of, it almost kind of hurts him, I think, because he's such a talented athlete that he can do that and be successful where other people come. So it'd be interesting to see if, when he fights the guys again that are good grapplers, that just, when he comes in, they just are able to bury their head in his chest and put him on the ground.
The Whatcast checking in says, thanks for doing this, guys. First time I've had to miss fights in a decade, so getting to tune in softens the blow. Hope you guys do more watch-alongs. I'm enjoying this, Frank. You enjoying this? Feels fun. Feels like we got a lot of people watching the fights with us.
Yeah, I would like it once we can all do this in the same house. A little better lighting on my end. I'm out in the backyard with a cell phone and an iPad, so I go guerrilla style,
Yeah. Yeah, we over here at the Hunter Hacienda, we actually let Frank in the house. So maybe we can.
No, you don't. Last time you handed me my fucking check, you gave me my mail on the end of a broomstick.
Well, it's Corona madness right now. If anybody wants to head over to, I think I put that on the Phone Booth Fighting Instagram. You probably have to go back a month or two, but Frank came over and had to get an envelope, and I was gloved up and handed it to him at the end of a 6-foot pole. We filmed it if you guys want to see that. And Ngannou giving his victory speech there. No doubt got to be calling for a heavyweight title shot after this.
Yeah.
Oh, California Love got a shot of one of the Mir guard dogs there. We wanted to know if you could, is that Thule or Baby? Can you hold them up?
This is Thule.
Yeah.
This is my attack dog.
Yeah. There she is. A lot of times she's dressed up. She has like
right now she's she's suffering from quarantine fever too.
Oh,
she's
yeah.
Kind of raggedy right now. She took the nap with me, so
no,
they already won. Yeah, 5 seconds, just flurry. Yeah, they weren't pretty, but they landed.
Croy asked Frank, how would you approach a fight against Ngannou? Would you entertain striking with him? I mean, you kind of laid out Stipe's game plan, which seems to be right now the kryptonite for Ngannou, which is head to the ground and stay there.
Yeah, you have to strike with him at first,
Yeah.
But I think that the minute he starts moving forward, you have to, basically treat it like a Greco-Roman wrestling match. I think trying to change levels and shoot a blast double would work, or just go for the waist. That way, at least if Stipe times his double well, his head's on the outside of the hip. If you brought your head on the inside, like a head inside single or whatnot, or a knee tap, I think it'd be better to put your head on his chest. So if he comes with one of those uppercuts, you're not leaning over when it comes. And also you can see how he kind of, he almost kind of slaps with some of his punches downward. Again, it still will knock you out if he catches you with it, but you don't want to get hit on the back of the neck by him either. So I think kind of keeping more of a, obviously a little bit of a pivot, but I would use much more, probably like a Daniel Cormier style or a Randy Couture style, I think would do very well against Ngannou. As he gets close, you throw a jab, he throws a jab, a little bit of a leg kick, throw his balance off. When he comes in with that blitz, then you just think, I got to bury my shoulder on his chest, get my hand around his waist, and then work from the takedown from there and make him fight out of the clinch. And, in Ngannou, there is no free lunch. He has phenomenal power. He's the most powerful athlete in the UFC. But that comes at a deficit somewhere else, and we've seen it. Ngannou trained really hard for the title fight against Stipe. Mm-hmm. The reason why he looked the way he looked is because he's not built to wrestle and have a grind for that long. On the contrary side, look at Daniel Cormier's body. Mm-hmm. Daniel can keep up endurance for many, many rounds. You never see that guy ever get tired. And he has a grinding, punishing pace. But is he explosively powerful? No, not really. He doesn't have that fast twitch. He's not going to throw a shot put halfway across the football field type body. Ngannou does. But once again, it comes at a price. He's so fast twitch, such, an anaerobic, powerful athlete that if you can get him into deep waters, it's not that he doesn't know how to breathe properly, and not that he doesn't have great lungs. It's just that his muscle fibers are designed for power, and he just can't keep up endurance. He'll break down. He doesn't have enough of the proper slow twitch muscle fibers. But to his benefit, we fight in a sport that if I had to choose one or the other, I think Ngannou probably has the better end of the deal.
Joe D asked me, he said, Richard, who do you think has done a better job of learning who's done a better job than Khabib and Francis by learning English? I guess what he's asking is there a fighter I can think of that has done a better job of learning English? No, because Khabib, and you've talked to Khabib quite a bit, and I've talked to Ngannou quite a bit, doing interviews and stuff. Both of them speak English really well.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Ngannou, and I've talked many times because I've been out of town with Khabib. Mm-hmm. I was out there when he was in Uzbekistan when his cousin was fighting, and we had some conversations, and super easy for me to follow, and because obviously I don't speak a lick of Russian, so or anything from Dagestan, so his English is very good. Somebody who 10 years ago probably couldn't say that.
Yeah. Hey, who was it that you were telling? Was it Stipe Miocic that you were telling me about, like back before anybody knew who he was, or you just came in to just turn pro or something like that? You were in a room with him, and because of his name, you just assumed he was Croatian or something. And
yeah, I think I did. Yeah, because but come to find out, he's kind of like how I am. Mm-hmm. My name is Francisco. If I went by Francisco, and people probably think I was more Hispanic, but the fact that I was born in the States, even though my father was born in Cuba, and and Stipe's parents I think came from Croatia, and even though he's born here in the States, when he started speaking, he had no accent. It threw me off. I was like, wait a minute, I thought I thought
Yeah.
you and Crow Cop from Mirko were similar. Yeah.
Man, they're showing the card for the May 13th card, the one headlined by Anthony Smith and um, Teixeira, Glover Teixeira. What do you think about Ovin St. Preux moving up to heavyweight to fight Ben Rothwell? That I think St. Preux is a kind of a longer, lanky guy. He's not the first guy I would have ever thought of to fight at heavyweight.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how he puts on some of the size, his frame. We'll see how he feels. I think one advantage he might have is he was never very fast at light heavyweight. I think a lot of light heavyweights sometimes were able to, be faster than he is. So now he might have that advantage going up to heavyweight where he has a little bit more quickness being a smaller heavyweight that he didn't have at the light heavyweight division. And he's still, about 6'4" and has a good reach if I remember properly. So I think that, he's somebody that possibly could, transfer over well.
Mm-hmm. JD says, "Hey, Frank, I've been a Mir Maniac since your second UFC fight. I need an autographed phone booth fighting shirt for my loyalty." Well, if you go over, I'll put Frank on the spot. If you order that shirt through phoneboothfighting.com in our store, I'll bet Frank will autograph it.
No problem.
I'll bet I can get him to. I'll bring the shirt over to his house at the end of a 6-foot pole. There'll be the T-shirt and a Sharpie. And just
we're
sign
opening up now. Are you going to be a little bit more or less paranoid?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I know. I've been the
exposed to the virus eventually, dude. We all got to get sick.
I've been the nervous Nelly amongst us. But because we're turning into a real jujitsu house over here. I mean, for the longest time, I had a passion for it, but now Jennifer started doing it too. So, but you have to bring Bella over, and we can have an extremely one-sided co-ed grappling affair. All right, let's see what we have here. Hey, there's kind of an interesting discussion going on in the chat right now, Frank. There seems to be a side prop bet conversation going on of who gets cut first. Do you think it's going to be Justin Gaethje or Tony Ferguson? Not cut in terms of fired from the promotion, but
I got what you're saying.
So, bleeding. That to me would be Gaethje. The number of strikes that he absorbs and the sharpness of Tony Ferguson's elbows. I'm betting that even if Gaethje wins this fight, he probably ends up looking a little messy after the fact.
I agree with you. I think that Gaethje probably is going to look worse for wear. Ferguson, man, does he even get cut? I don't think I've ever really seen Ferguson's face ever look messed up, man.
Yeah, not really. He kind of just has that look about his face where it's kind of like.
I mean, you can tell he's been in a fight.
Yeah,
but he doesn't have I can't recall, a cut over an eye or a bloody nose that I can think of right now, or a busted eye where it's closed up and swelling, knots on his head. He more looks like he's had a hard wrestling match. That kind of grinding, mat burn on his face type after the fight, but swelling and stuff. Like every picture you see him raising his hand and his opponent next to him, it doesn't look like, you could tell who took the worst of the damage.
Yeah, Don here just says, I just hope Gaethje gets his nose broken. I don't know if you heard this comment from, did you hear Justin Gaethje, Frank, talking about how he hasn't been able to breathe correctly for 12 years and he needs to get his nose broken anyway to clear that up? So he's hoping it happens in this fight so he doesn't have to go out and pay for a medical procedure.
There we go. Let's look at the bright side of things.
That really is. All right. Well, we're about to see the first of 2 title fights, the first of 2 potential 5-round fights getting underway here. The co-main event is about to get rolling for the bantamweight title. One-time champion Dominic Cruz returning after more than 3 years away from the octagon to take on Triple C, the flyweight and bantamweight champion of the UFC, Henry Cejudo.
Uh-oh. You put on your lap then because she's going nuts.
I thought this was the main event.
No, Ferguson and Gaethje are the main event. This is co.
Don says
Ferguson was the co-main event because they're not fighting for a title.
No, the interim title for lightweight.
interim title in a bigger weight class. Yeah.
What's that? Yeah, but he has the lightweight title now because Khabib didn't come out because of the Russia, the lockdown and whatnot. Couldn't make this fight, so Ferguson and Gaethje are an interim belt. And then obviously, hopefully, the idea is that
the winner.
Yeah.
Don in the chat says, I think Henry versus Cruz is going to be an extremely fun fight. Could be. And Frank, you said that you could see an upset on the horizon here with Cruz going over on Cejudo. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Look, I'll put it out there. I'm kind of biased towards Cruz. I like smart fighters. I'm a smart fighter. You know what I mean? And Cruz is one of probably the few people I've ever spoken to that I feel that can hold the conversation with me when we talk about fighting. And not only that I've actually learned things from. I'm like, oh, that's an interesting point. I like what you said there. So many fighters are typically, look, at this level, most of us are just good athletes that have a decent amount of skill. But if you say, hey, coach me and teach me how to do this or explain this technique or break down what this guy's thinking right now, most of them would just, you get a blank stare in your face. Like, I don't know. I just punch him more times than he punches me, like that's about as deep of an answer you're going to get, and Dominic is an extremely intelligent fighter who's also a good athlete. And so, he has a style that's extremely difficult for a lot of guys to defeat, his only losses. I mean, he obviously the first one he got caught in a choke by Uriah Faber early in his WEC career that I was actually calling. It came back and redeemed himself twice over, and then the other fight was to he lost a decision to TJ Dillashaw, which that fight was super close. I mean, besides that choke in 24 fights, no one's really ever handled Dominic Cruz. And even in the fight with Uriah, I mean, that was, I think, his 5th or 6th fight. I mean, it was something really quick into his career. You can look on his Wikipedia.
That's right.
He was definitely in over his head at that point fighting Uriah. And, he came out there guns a-blazing. And, Uriah was the champ for a reason for many times over in the WEC. And he caught him with a guillotine choke, I believe. And, Cruz is just, his footwork, his length, his movement. He has a style that, that's very hard to train for. It's almost kind of like how Machida was at light heavyweight and middleweight at his prime. How do you train to fight a guy who fights that way? If I got to think, how does Cejudo get somebody in the gym to react and move like Dominic Cruz? It's difficult, But that being said, I'm still interested in watching this fight. Cejudo, look, you're no slouch if you win a gold medal at 18 years of age in the Olympics, Yeah. So obviously, a phenomenal wrestler, and he has a win over Dominic Cruz, Demetrius Johnson. He was able to take him down, and then he did knock out the one guy that also beat Dominic Cruz. He, beat TJ Dillashaw. He caught him with that right hand right on the, early in the fight, about 30 seconds in. I was there in New York and watched it. So he has explosive power to come in. We've seen him when he fought Moraes. Come out there. And I mean, I thought Moraes was going to have his way with him on his feet. And and all of a sudden Cejudo turned around and he won the fight on his feet in that fight. So he's shown development and ability to improve. And like I told you, him going down to, Cejudo going down to Bioaccelerator, his body should be feeling awesome. So, I mean, that's a huge advantage. So I'm curious to see what he's going to do. But I have the tactician in me doing the X's and O's. I'm seeing this as a very good opportunity for Dominic Cruz.
Don says Henry's going to have to get in close. Dom looked pretty big besides Henry. Yeah, I mean, he's given up a lot of height here to Cruz in this fight.
Yeah, remember, Henry, he was the flyweight champion, Dominic has always been the bantamweight guy. He couldn't go down to flyweight.
Our current producer, Mikey, Porno Mikey, checking in. He is predicting, Frank, a one-sided shutout decision. He sees this going 50-45 Cruz. That's a bold prediction.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I definitely see, like I said, guys, I'll say it now before the fight starts. I'm going on record live. I'm taking Cruz. Yeah.
Jeep disagrees with you and Mikey. He says, I love Dominic, but Cejudo's going to win by knockout. We'll see. Dominic Cruz, I was going to say this, for as accomplished of a fighter as he has been, much like yourself, Frank, I think he is an incredibly valuable analyst. I've always been a big fan of his broadcasting.
Yeah, he's very good at it because he understands, martial arts on a deep level, and, and he has a good way of being able to talk and portray it. That's why I think that, Cruz is very good as an announcer. I think that's what makes him also a good fighter, that ability to think on his feet, and understand what's going on and to break things apart. Tony Cruz fights a good war.
No, but
Yeah, this is going to be a tactical fight.
The way he moves his feet is insane. But Dominic Cruz has defended his belt way more than Cejudo has. I think he played like 70 pounds.
Oh, you get your phone. Wikipedia. Yeah, out of the two, saying that Cruz is going to get knocked out by Cejudo, anything's possible. Cejudo does hit hard now, but Dominic Cruz has never been knocked out in 24 fights. And Cejudo has been knocked out with a body shot, from a guy who is significantly smaller. When Demetrius Johnson knocked him out with a knee to the body. What was Cejudo's other loss?
Oh, to TJ. No, shoot. What was his other loss? Oh, to Joseph Benavidez. I meant Benavidez.
Oh, okay.
All right, just about to get underway here. Let's see if my clock synced up with yours, Frank.
Where are you at?
I got a fight just about to start. Here we go.
I'm already 15, 16 seconds into it.
Damn it.
I feel like our gaps are going stronger.
I know. That's just got to be something with my IP address or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm already 430 right now. 429, 28, 27. So far, this is what Cejudo has to figure out. How do I get in on Dominic? And because Dominic starts to find a way to get in on you, he's going to keep doing this wide motions and moving out, his footwork, feigning in, coming in like on a figure eight, out on the angles, in on an angle. He darts in, darts back out off an angle, and then if you get frustrated, he's going to come back in and sting you. And then he comes back out. He wants to keep this fight at a distance. And for Cejudo's right hand to work, he has to get in close. And for his wrestling to work, he has to get in close. That's a nice idea there. Try to kick his legs out. See if he can get, break up the base of Dominic. So that way later rounds, maybe make it to his not as mobile.
Mm-hmm. Inside leg kick there. I see both guys going with the ankle brace things. You like those, Frank, right? Why do you like them?
Yeah, just because it gives you a little bit more ankle support when you're changing corners and stuff. You don't. It's easy to tape your ankles, and then you can put. You can see they have tape underneath of it, and then you put the cloth over it so that way it keeps it on and doesn't roll off.
Any grappling advantage to him as far as maintaining traction?
No, actually, it's a little bit of a disadvantage because it allows me personally. Oh, there's a knee. And now a takedown for Cejudo on Cruz. But see there? Oh, yeah. Couldn't hold Cruz down. It makes it much more difficult to, the heel hook and whatnot, because now it puts direct pressure on the knee because now your foot doesn't have as much give.
Mm-hmm. What about Cruz, like with that momentary takedown right there and the immediate get up, kind of establishing respect with his own wrestling game for Cejudo? Cejudo's the Olympian wrestler here, but Cruz has some solid wrestling too. Probably a bit of an advantage there to be able to show that off early.
Yeah, that's the thing. Cruz can shoot from all these footwork he's doing, and he actually adds that in. He'll throw, phenomenal uppercut there, and then he slipped over into the right hand for Cruz. You'll see that he's able to get takedowns. Now, look, if this was a straight freestyle wrestling match, my money's on Cejudo. But because we're doing kicks and punches, it's a different form of grappling. Nice punch for Cejudo. He came in on a straight line. It looked like he landed a decent left lead. Cejudo's striking's improved so much over the years from his first couple fights. Beautiful combination there again from Cruz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dominic Cruz. I mean, he looks just like I remember Dominic Cruz looking.
Yeah, I like we said, I really thought because he's done it so many times that he would just come off long layoffs. That mentally the guy's just he's always in the gym even when he's injured. He's always that guy. Maybe to a detriment. Maybe that's why his body's always broken up. But I mean, he's always training. He's always in the sport in some form or another. Cruz doesn't really, from hanging out with the guy a few times out of town and stuff. This is his whole life. He loves martial arts, the MMA game, wrestling. This is it. Even when he goes and does stuff like basketball, he's using it to think of MMA. You know what I mean? The footwork is what you have to do, and how could he incorporate it into his footwork for fighting?
In between rounds 1 and 2 here, how do you see that first round? Right?
It was close, man. I don't know. I could see that going, either way.
Yeah, that's what you get sometimes with these tactical, technical battles. It's almost like a math equation. You start going, well, one inside leg hit, one takedown, even though that takedown didn't do anything, it's still like that's the one time I think you take into consideration takedowns that really don't result in much is when you're having to try to split hairs anyway.
Yeah.
Oh,
there you go. Good combo.
High kick and then 1-2.
Now, the thing, though, if I remember correctly from Cruz in the past, I think his first round's always the closest rounds for him. He usually starts picking up in timing as it goes on. I like how he's getting Cejudo to bite on his shots. He's changing levels, and Cejudo's like sprawling all the way to the mat.
Yeah, I would say early on, Cruz's movement and angles are definitely making Cejudo's game way more sporadic than you would like it to be. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that element of Cejudo's game, he just hasn't really been able to seem like see an inroad for yet.
Yeah. And then, so thinking of that first round, probably went to Cejudo just because, I mean, the only really difference was that one takedown
Yeah.
that occurred. Other than that, I mean, neither guy really landed more than the other, A couple leg kicks for Cejudo, but a couple punches landed on the face for Cruz. And now it's Cruz again shaking him up and trying to find, his entry points. And Cejudo is just trying to look where he can, land his power.
High kick from Cejudo there.
Yeah, nice slip.
It's always so amazing to me that Cruz can keep this pace going for so long. I mean, assuming he can do this again for another 5 rounds if he has to.
Yeah. And you see here, Cejudo shoots a shot, and Cruz does a great job of bringing his hips in and blocking it off. Oh,
Nice.
best combination right there for Cruz so far in the round. Just landed at 216, landed a right hand. Cejudo's now trying to get even. He's chasing him a little bit aggressively here.
Just at the halfway point of round 2, a little past it.
He ducks under punches a lot.
Cruz never afraid to spend time with his back pretty close to the cage because he's always moving.
Yeah, as he gets closer to the cage, you'll see he actually like almost kind of puts his feet parallel, almost like a horse stance. That gives him greater range of mobility side to side. He almost kind of loses the forward and back motion, and he ends up going right. And he's just, as you move forward, he's going to shoot out left, shoot out right. But he doesn't have the, he's anticipating that you're going to come forward, and he's just going to cut out the corner.
About a minute left into the second round here.
Nice shot defended by Cejudo, and then Cruz came up and landed a left hand on his ear after he defended it. That's the thing about Cruz, so good at transitioning from a grappling maneuver to a striking maneuver flawlessly in between,
Yeah.
Oh, it's already bleeding.
I think there was a headbutt.
Well, it looked like Keith Peterson didn't see it at first, but maybe reacted to Cejudo reacting to it. Oh, yeah, he's definitely got a cut up there around his hairline.
Yeah. Yeah, just two fighters standing opposite leg forward, you know what I mean? Clashing heads.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow.
Cejudo won. Oh, wow.
Whoa. Frank, if you're ahead of me, you call it because
yeah. That was a bad stoppage.
Oh, man, I don't like that stoppage either.
No.
I mean, what was there left in the round? 3 seconds?
Yeah. Yeah, that was bullshit.
Yeah, I didn't. Let's look at this replay. But yeah, he definitely wasn't out. He also appeared to be bracing himself. I mean, I got to look back at it, but it looked like he had his arms to the canvas, like to get up. Yeah.
I took a hard knee, man. Boom. He's getting up. Okay. Shots here, shots here. Okay. Puts his hands down. Now look, he's lifting up. Oh, boom.
Yeah, right.
His feet, I mean, he's driving up the cage as he's stopping the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
not the worst stoppage I've ever seen, but
no, it's not the worst stoppage, but
yeah,
I would like to have seen it. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, his arm's stuck there. He gets it out. I mean, he stopped it just as he was getting up.
Yeah.
It was almost like if he would have stopped it probably a half a second earlier, it would have looked a little better. But the fact that he waited till he was already lifting his hips up off the mat.
Well, Peterson may have already made that decision too. A half a second earlier. I mean, he may have been headed in.
Right. Maybe he already made the decision to go in there, and Cruz was coming back out. Yeah.
Yeah. I need to. I'm going to change out a couple of batteries on my lights here, so everybody talk amongst yourselves for 10 seconds.
I can't hear anybody else. So.
Should have let him go on.
Yeah, I agree with Israel.
They're fighting again.
Listen to what's being said. Give me updates. Yeah, I mean, good job timing him to come down on that knee. Cruz is hurt.
He said he's the greatest combat sports of all time.
Okay.
He said, Uncle Dana, UFC, thank you for my career. He says he wants to walk away. He wants to start a family.
Wait, what's happening here? Is he retiring?
He said he's happy with his career.
Who saw this coming?
says I'm out. You don't have to hear me anymore. He just retired.
That's interesting. Didn't see that coming.
Boy, I didn't either. You still hear me, Frank?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Man, guy steps away to change the batteries on some lights and get a retirement. Hang on, I got to adjust them again.
That was the early stoppage. I was working my way up. If
Yeah.
I was flat on the floor, then stop it. But I was working my way up.
Yeah, I agree with Cruz.
He was definitely aware of what was going on. If he's standing up to his feet, he's in the fight.
Yeah, because I mean, what does the referee want him to put his hands? You have a guy who's on your back pushing down on you. You have to be in a turtle or a referee's position with both hands on the mat and both knees on the mat to work your way up. If you lift your hand up to protect from the punches, it's going to be extremely difficult to get your knees under.
How am I supposed to get my balance on my way up with someone on me? That's what he just said.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So me and Cruz are saying the same exact thing. I know I like the guy for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, where his hands were exactly where you're going to eat a couple shots to get your hips up off the mat to get your knees under you. So if you can't get your knees under you, you have to have your hands on the mat. And if your knees aren't under you, you can't get your hips up. And then he was working his way up the cage. Like, I want to ask the referee, it's like, well, where did you want him to put his hands? Mm-hmm. If he was out, his face would be on the mat. You know what I mean? Like, you see a guy in that position, he gets hit 2 or 3 times, they crush down. Their arms give out. Then stop the fight,
So to catch everybody up, if you missed it just a second ago, or you're just jumping in, or you're not watching the fight feed live, just listening to us, Henry Cejudo just surprised everybody by retiring after stopping Dominic Cruz with just seconds left in the second round. You just had a guy retire who is a multi-weight class simultaneous champion. That's very shocking to me.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Why did he? Bella said she was listening there. Why did he give any reasoning? Very particular shocking reason why?
Why did he want to retire? Because he wants to start a family.
He says he wants to start a family. He's 33 years old. He wants to do something else with his life. He said he was 11 years old, putting his whole life into this, and now he wants to actually start something of himself.
I hope he went ahead and got a girlfriend. I hope he's not going to do it first and then go out and put up a profile on Tinder. I mean, that's just weird because he's not a married guy or anything like that.
I think he is married.
Kids.
Yeah.
Wait, Henry Cejudo has kids?
Yeah. That's what he just said.
You're the journalist. How do you not know this?
How do I not know that? I have to investigate this. I'm doing some research right now. Wasn't it like 9 months ago he was asking out one of those Bella twins? You know those girls? Those the wrestling twins?
Oh, really? I don't know.
I thought so.
It's me, dude. I don't keep up with any of that.
Well, 5 days ago, he said he was wanting to marry Jose Aldo so that Jose Aldo could get into the country without any visa issues. That's an interesting proposal.
Yeah.
I think he just went ahead and said he wanted to start a family without anybody being signed up to be on the receiving end of that. That's confidence.
Yeah.
Man, I'm just really shocked by that.
Yeah, who knows? Cejudo's kind of a goofball.
Yeah.
We'll see if Monday that's still the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, look at the shock factor. Him saying that was more than, attention for his fight, So we'll see.
All right, main event is next. UFC running some promos for some things, paying some bills before we get the main event out of the way. Yeah, Andrea says maybe it's a Zoom relationship that, or Andre, I'm sorry. Andre said that. Maybe it's a Zoom relationship that he got started during the Corona quarantine. Huh. Here's a question from Whatcast, Frank. They say, do we think the flyweight division is in danger again? I mean, it's an interesting point because it did seem like that division might have been on the cutting room floor. Remember, or on the chopping block, I should say. Remember that period of months where like no flyweight fights were getting made and flyweight fighters were getting released and stuff. And then you had Cejudo beat Mighty Mouse. And that kind of, in a weird way, reinvigorated the division because for the longest time, nobody could beat Mighty Mouse. He beats him. Mighty Mouse leaves UFC, and it did seem like it just kind of opened it wide up, wide open, the division. And not only the flyweights, but then Cejudo gets the bantamweight title too. Man, that one's really got me shaking my head.
Yeah. The one thing I think that might save the flyweight division, or at least I can articulate it saving it, is that, one, I mean, look, we have ESPN Plus, the UFC Fight Pass, you have all these different platforms that the UFC has to fulfill, content on. So I think getting rid of a weight class isn't necessarily beneficial towards that concept. Also, too, I mean, remember, UFC is still very international. They want to be able to go into, do their in Macau, their cards and, over there in China. And so I think that's another reason why you're going to want to keep the flyweight classes, even though here in the US and in Europe, men are big, you got other parts of the country and there's the 125-pound weight class will be a much more prevalent, weight class. You look in Japan, those weight classes and in China are very strong fighting weight classes.
Yep.
So I think by dumping that, they would be getting rid of talent and scooting it over towards competition against them,
I'll remind everybody once again while we're waiting for the main event to start to head on over to phoneboothfighting.com. And if you are interested in any Phone Booth Fighting t-shirts or other merchandising availability, then use the promo code for tonight only, UFC 249. That's promo code UFC 249. With any t-shirt purchase, we will send you a signed poster. Also, our Patreon page is at patreon.com/Phone Booth Fighting. Check that out. Frank and I each and every week do some additional premium content that gets posted over there. If you join up with us, we've got some fun thank you gifts to send you at various levels. You'll see what I mean. You go over there and take a look, especially during the Corona quarantine. That's kept Frank and I busy. We joked about this before, Frank, but between you and me, turns out the only job we can do during a worldwide pandemic is podcast.
Yeah. It's at least you have the benefit to be able to hang out and talk, because I hate being on the phone, so I get to put my phone down and talk to you face to face.
Yeah.
It's our way of keeping up with each other.
That's right.
Because if one thing I've learned through this is you're a little paranoid with the germs.
Yeah. I never was so much. I mean, I don't know that I've ever been overly paranoid about it before, but I'm realizing now, like, there was a bunch of stuff that I could have gotten on board with earlier that I just didn't, as far as like fist bumping over handshaking and things like that,
Yeah.
You end up having to shake a lot of hands. You probably wouldn't mind that, right? If we all just agreed.
I still just do it. Just, before I eat, wash my hands, before I go to the bathroom, wash my hands.
Well, I definitely do that. I mean, I definitely am a hand washer, although I have adopted the Frank Mir philosophy of washing my hands before I pee now. That's going to be your contribution to this this moment in time. Yeah.
Hey, man, it makes perfect sense to me. And I think everybody I explain it to, it makes sense to them too.
I agree. I think if this thing goes on long enough, here's what I would wish for all this, Frank. I would wish that one of those White House briefing room reporters would ask Dr. Fauci about the Frank Mir philosophy of washing your hands before you pee. Would that be the greatest? Rank that with your 2 heavyweight title wins. I mean, I guess those would still have to be first, and then probably the birth of most of your kids and everything. But it's got to be right up there in a top moment of life if Dr. Fauci looked into the camera and was like, Frank Mir was so far ahead of this.
Well, yeah, if you can do that, I mean, hell, long after you're gone and dead, if you can change modern culture and people do things a certain way, I mean, think about it. If you were famous for inventing the high five, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you know what I should do? So at least we're more on sync. Since you can't catch up to me, we're stupid. Why didn't I just slow mine down?
Okay. So pause for, just pause for like 15 seconds. Like a 15-second differential.
All right.
All right. Justin Gagey stepping into the cage.
Tell me when he touches the top of the cage.
Okay. And Justin Gagey touches the top of the cage. Hasn't yet. I'm watching.
Oh, you're way behind me.
Am I, or did I just miss him touching the top of the cage? So let's look for another cue.
Okay.
Okay, I'll tell you when I get my first glimpse of Tony Ferguson.
All right.
The arena has gone dark.
Oh, you're ahead of me now.
Oh. Now I need to pause.
No, I'll catch up.
Okay.
So I'm just
I have not. Yep, I haven't seen him yet. Music's playing. Now, I just saw Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson making his ring walk. Got Eddie Bravo there, his jiu-jitsu coach next to him. Well, I bet Eddie Bravo has had a lot of conspiracy theories to share during downtime.
Oh, no. I couldn't imagine hanging out with him right now. I still think that he's just playing a game on everybody.
Yeah.
There's no way he thinks the earth is flat. There's just no way. I can't believe anybody can really believe that. You know what I mean? I have a hard time grasping that concept.
The dreaded fish keeper says that he thought when we said somebody retired that it was Dominic Cruz, but he said he didn't see Henry doing something like that, but he may be doing it for shot value. That's kind of what Frank said. That makes sense.
Yeah, the dreaded fish keeper 207. I agree with you.
Yeah,
I think I think I said that a few minutes ago. We'll see Monday. I think Cejudo, he just desperately wants to be accepted, and I think that his shtick that he has right now, which I think he could come at it a different approach. I'm not a fan of it. It seems awkward. I feel bad for Cejudo when I see him flexing and he has that look on his face and he says some of the things he says. Yeah. It just comes off like I feel like I'm at school and we're watching the kid that's kind of a nerd and he's trying to be cool and he's just trying so hard and you're just like, oh, buddy, you just relax a little bit. You're actually a cool guy. Yeah. If you just chilled out, you know what I mean? Like, look, you gold medal, you're a 2-division champ, you're a record holder now, you've accomplished some pretty cool things. just relax. You know what I mean? Like, you're never going to be Conor McGregor. None of us are. That's Conor. You know what I mean? Like, this shtick you're trying to pull off, that this, you know, it just doesn't come off well. You know what I mean? Because it's very obviously fake. And so it makes me feel awkward for him when I watch him, you know, some of the things he says or does, or, you know, like calling out a female fight to be the first intergender champion. It's like, I get maybe some of the shock value to get your name in the headlines, but at some point it's like, are you really willing to say anything just for shock value? Then you're just a clown, you know?
Yeah. All right, we're getting ready here. We've got number 4 ranked Ferguson against number 4th ranked Gaethje. Of course, Gaethje, a late replacement for Khabib Nurmagomedov, the fight that just will not happen.
I've just seen Bruce Buffer
times now. Yep, I see Bruce too. I think we're synced up.
That was pretty close.
Camera's
At least we're a lot closer than we were.
Yeah. Camera's on Gaethje now. Intros are happening. By the way, speaking of awkward moments, I just real quick, I don't know if you saw, but Henry Cejudo took his cap off and threw it out into the non-existent crowd. It just sort of landed in a sea of empty chairs. All right. Buffer making his introductions. It's funny how Bruce Buffer says, and now for those in attendance. He still says for that. And I guess he means the UFC personnel.
Yeah.
There's technically people in attendance, I guess. It's time. He just declared it. I always think that it's an interesting job. Have you ever noticed that it's one person's job to pick up those cards that Buffer has in his hand when he throws one? He drops the card when he's done with it, and there's somebody that scurries up behind him and picks it up real quick so it doesn't stay out there on the canvas.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun job to have.
I'm not the one of the kids bring me a battery pack real quick. Oh, my phone just went to 10%.
Uh-oh.
I'll use the iPad to text.
All right, Justin Gaethje being introduced now. Tony Ferguson being introduced now. A minus 220 favorite is Ferguson. Did you know, Frank, I saw an interesting stat. The last time Tony Ferguson lost a fight, females did not fight in the UFC. That's how long it's been.
Oh, wow.
All right. Corner man leaving the apron of the mat. Fist bump between Gaethje and Ferguson. Heard Dean giving final instructions. Back to their corners. Ring girl reminds us it's round 1. And here we go. Round 1 is underway. Nobody rushed right in. Pretty cautious. Lead kick thrown from Gaethje there. Pretty cautious, pretty tactical so far. Yeah, Frank?
Yeah. A little bit of a setup for a spin technique there. Thank you, baby. It has juice.
Mm-hmm. 3.
Gagey shot for like a single leg there. Got denied. Not a real serious attempt, though.
Yeah, right now, I mean, Ferguson, just the switching stances back and forth. You see how he's just trying to land the straight shots coming in. He throws the kicks. Gagey likes a little bit closer of a battle, more of a traditional, nice left hook, 2 of them there for him. Yeah, his left hooks and low kicks are some of his best shots.
Mm-hmm.
So that requires a little bit tighter of a distance. Ferguson has such long arms and throws front kicks to the body like that right there. And then, and throws the jabs and straight punches. So he likes a little bit of a longer, almost a karate style distance.
Big left hand miss from Gagey there. Ferguson tags him.
Got a nice left hook again, though, from Gagey.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice combination. It was a high left kick, high straight left hand, right?
Yep. First high kick of the fight there from Ferguson. Ferguson slips right back up. Left kick to the body for Ferguson.
I think that's the thing, too, that sometimes makes Ferguson hard for some of the more classically trained strikers like, Gagey is that, the way he switches stance and the way he spins out. If we were in a sparring practice right now, I would stop practice and say, hey, Ferguson, don't do that. Like you're exposing your back, or the way you're stepping over with your foot, you're exposing the back of your ear there. But he makes it work. He actually makes that awkward movement to his advantage. And he's caught people with spinning elbows and spin kicks and the front kick, and then he's able to pull it off. And I think, one is he's very resilient and he can take some damage. Like he took a pretty good left hook there from Gagey and just smiles at him.
Mm-hmm.
Where you see Gagey hasn't made this, Gagey's stance is his head's between his knees. You see the perfect triangle he's making with his body and his feet. His head's not going past and outside his knees. He hasn't spun and exposed his back. He hasn't slipped and fallen because he has much more of a classical movement of a kickboxer here, footwork. It keeps him more on balance, and right there, that allowed him to be in a position to tag Ferguson after Ferguson threw that uppercut from far around. But here's the point. This is I feel like the mystique of Ferguson here right now. I kind of suspected, like right now, I think Gagey's winning this first round.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboy won the first round against him, another much more classical kickboxer.
Mm-hmm.
Ferguson just keeps coming forward and keeps landing shots. And it seems like even though you land shots, the shots he lands seem just to do more damage.
Mm. About 10 seconds left in the first round here. Pace definitely picking up after the first minute or so. And end of round 1. Good round.
Yeah, I think that more significant strikes were landed by Gagey. I think that first round could slide towards him. Ferguson was, very active and moving around, but he didn't really land too much of significance besides that one same side kick combination he landed where he threw the left kick, left hand. Gagey landed a couple good shots with the left hook.
Ferguson forgoes the stool. Says, no thanks, I'll stand.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's like, I don't know anybody that can beat Ferguson in the 4th and 5th rounds.
Mm-hmm.
There's the thumb to the eye.
Yeah, didn't look too bad, but
yeah, it's still your eye. It's sensitive.
Yeah,
you got him.
Yeah.
It looked like he was trying to do a Frankie Edgar type takedown. Grab the lead leg and slap someone on the clavicle with the palm of your hand and knock them down, and you scoot them towards the leg that you're hitting.
Round
Ferguson,
two. Go ahead. Sorry,
Ferguson
Frank.
Ferguson just, you know, he's different. Wow, nice hard left hand thrown there by Gagey. And look, Ferguson's still just walking forward. I think that gets guys tired too, because you land shots on him that other people will back away from, even if it doesn't drop them. It earns their respect. You'll land a hard shot on Ferguson, and he just comes marching forward on you, and that's fatiguing because it took energy for you to throw that hard shot, and it's almost psychologically discouraging. You're like, man, I just landed one of my Sunday best on you.
Right. Well, and I would think, Frank, it also deprives you of even having that second to take a deep breath when most people would back up.
Again, Gagey's landed the cleaner left hooks right now. He's really found a home for it. Every time he slips to his left side, there, see how he'll do it again. He'll slip to his left side, put his weight over his left leg, and then he fires back with that left hook. He's caught Ferguson a couple times. There was a nice chopping right hand.
Yeah, so far a minute and a half into this second round, the damage is all Gagey here on Ferguson.
I agree with you. Gagey's winning this fight.
Yeah.
And if anything, he's getting more confident with the shots he's throwing.
Mm-hmm.
Good combination there for Ferguson. Probably the first of the round that was significance. Left hook to a straight cross. Not as many leg kicks as I expected from Gagey.
Yeah.
A lot more hand kicks.
And while, like you said, Ferguson keeps coming forward, I think you can also say that Gagey hasn't really felt the effects of anything that would make him think he can't stand in the pocket with Ferguson. Right at 2 minutes left in the second round. High kick from Ferguson. Partially.
Yeah. I mean, Ferguson's still hunting, but right now Gagey's landed the much more significant shots. Again, right there. Right hand, left hook, turns Ferguson walking off. Gagey's starting to look a little, I can tell, fatigue is starting to become a little bit of a factor here.
Yeah.
His posture's just changed. You can just see his energy right now.
Spinning back elbow from Tony Ferguson there.
And this is where Ferguson, watch, this is the part of him that's like, how do you train for? You're landing, you're doing everything right, you're beating the guy up, and he's still coming forward.
Gagey's missing more shots now, too.
Yeah. He is. And that takes out so much energy.
Mm-hmm.
That was a clean 1-2 just from nice counter right hand there for Gagey. I feel like it's a race where Gagey's ahead, but Ferguson, I can see wanting to start catching up. And like now it's like, okay, can Gagey get to the finish line before Ferguson can make up ground?
Right. About 10 seconds left in the second round. Gagey throwing big shots. Oh! Gagey got caught there and momentarily went down to a knee. Didn't go really the right at the bell. You think that made enough of a difference to give that round to Ferguson?
I don't know. Maybe, dude. I mean, man, we have to talk to somebody. Like, we got to take the judging class if they do it this year because Gagey landed a lot more significant strikes that whole fight, that whole round. And all of a sudden there, I mean, here he lands shot after shot, Here we get another left hand, boom, nice low kick, and then at the very end, here. Good right hand, left hook from Gagey sends Ferguson off. And here at the very end, here's the uppercut. Boom, throwing double uppercuts.
Wow.
Gagey gets rocked.
How crazy does that look in slow motion? Simultaneous uppercuts. Ferguson's lands.
Yeah. Ferguson's hunting again. That's the thing. Like, yeah.
That's tough. I think we could be one round apiece here. I mean, if that's going to be the last thing,
that might have given him the round. Dropping someone like that. Yep. So it might be one, which is really bad because I don't see Gagey winning rounds 4 and 5.
Right.
I thought his best chance of winning this fight so far in my brain is his first round. I was like, okay, if he can win, and it looked like he was winning round 2. I'm like, wow, if he wins round 3, he might be able to pull off a decision victory here if he can just, keep them to 10-9 losses in rounds 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm. Oh, here's Stephen A. Smith weighing in, Frank. He says on Twitter, good Lord, Tony Ferguson is taking some shots. Garth really came to fight tonight. I think he means Gagey.
Yeah. He's saving up on the 140, right?
Yeah. Ferguson's starting to show some damage on his face under that right eye.
Yeah,
we were talking about
we had the bet. We thought he was going to get cut for Gagey cut first, but look,
that's
like Ferguson
right.
took first.
Yeah.
So those at home that bet Ferguson, you guys won. I think you
That's
and I
right.
both took Gagey, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
I think that right cheekbone being cut from Ferguson's probably a testament to the left hands landing from Gagey. That left hook of his has really been a significant factor tonight.
Yeah. Right at 3 minutes left in the third round here. Just past the halfway point of the fight. Like you said, Frank, if you don't see Gagey winning rounds 4 and 5, and if in fact he was, that caught Ferguson. And if in fact he was able, and if in fact he won rounds 1 and 2, then this could be a round that makes all the difference. We'll see. Just nothing on the ground so far. Does that surprise you at all?
Yeah.
Ferguson ate that left hook.
Some of the striking that's gone on, seeing Ferguson even do an Imanari roll or something, just something maybe to attack the legs and get underneath and just,
Ferguson misses with 3 or 4 shots there. It's about 1:30 left in the third round. Boy, Ferguson is just so busy.
Yeah.
I mean, even when the pace slows down a little, not by, I mean, it's slowing down by Tony Ferguson's standards, not by anybody else's. Oh, Gagey just took a real deep breath there. Did you see that?
Yeah. But you know what? I still think he's winning this round.
Yeah. I mean, Ferguson's getting a little mysterious with his movements here.
That's kind of cool little low kick he's doing.
Yeah.
Oh, nice kick from Gagey and right hand afterwards.
High head kick from the left leg of Gagey and then followed it up with a right, like Frank said. Ferguson going down to the body. I don't know, Frank. I think Ferguson has won the second half of this round just by activity. I think he may have started.
Too many shots that were significant landed for Gagey that I think, you know what I mean? Like
Early in the
Gagey
round.
landed a couple, yeah, there's still a couple in this third round where, you know, I went, ooh, you know, from a punch landed by Gagey. So, I mean, if he stole that second round, it could be 2-1, you know, but yeah. These next two rounds are going to be really where Ferguson, you know, always usually. Yeah, see, these are more punches of Ferguson getting hit over and over again. Ferguson's taken a lot of shots. I have this fight. I got Gagey so far.
There's a lot of open questions about this fight because Gagey could be winning the fight. So you got him winning 3-0. You've got Ferguson needing a 10-8 round, right?
Well, I don't know what that second round did because of the knockdown.
Exactly. I think I would give that to Ferguson because of the knockdown. That's probably the only thing keeping him from getting shut out on the cards. But like you said, rounds 4 and 5, this is his world. So let's see what happens here.
Interesting that it's punching to the leg. I've been waiting to see what setup that is going to turn into. But I mean,
minute down here in the fourth round. Ferguson misses with a right short elbow.
Again, left hooks landing for Gagey. He's countering great with the right hand, left hooks. Oh, that was a significant left hook just landed by Gagey on Ferguson.
Right on Ferguson's chin. But again, Ferguson keeps coming forward.
Man, I couldn't have been more wrong leading up to this. I really thought Gagey's defense eats more shots, but his head movement's been really great tonight. Footwork and countering every time that Ferguson throws a shot. He makes him miss and then makes him pay.
How much of a factor do you think it is, Frank, that Ferguson, for better or for worse, is the guy like this?
Ferguson's knee just blew out.
Okay. Yeah. Now
Ferguson
Tony
just tore his knee.
on the run. Gaethje senses he's hurt. Tried to close him up against the fence. Ferguson got out from against the fence.
Man, it really looked like that was like an ACL tear, right? Where he just leg wobbled around.
Yeah.
Maybe he just rolled his ankle.
Was it the lead leg? I mean, he seems like he's kind of regained his footing now. I didn't quite see it.
Yeah, I thought it was his. I think it was his left leg.
Mm-hmm.
He switches stances so much. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's hurt, he's got a little bit of a handle on it now, enough to keep the fight going. 2.5 left in the 4th round. I was going to say, Frank, I mean, in the judge's eyes, the fact that Ferguson is always being the fighter to walk the other fighter down, how much of a factor do you think that can play?
It shouldn't play much, because really what should play more in is who's landing significant damage, who's doing significant damage. And the damage is being done by Gaethje. So whether he's walking backwards and doing that damage, walking forward doing that damage, or standing in place doing that damage, that's what matters. Now, if you have a fight where both guys are even, then you start going into quantity, and then it goes into ring control. And that's when you start getting into who's on top, who pressed against who marched who down, who engaged more. So, I mean, that marching forward doesn't come into play unless the factors of quantity of shots or damage and quality of damage, quality being first.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, I mean, Gaethje's landed a lot of quality damage.
Gaethje just took a kick to the groin, but he only took maybe 4 or 5 seconds to catch his breath.
Oh! Man, I you know what? I got 18 seconds, 17 seconds left in mine. On mine.
16, 15.
Yep. I think that going into this last round, Ferguson has to get a finish.
Interesting.
I mean, look at that. Look at the shot there. Oh,
yeah,
he didn't hit his knee. He was wobbled.
Yes. He was doing the dance. I mean, he didn't go down, but Ferguson did everything but.
Yeah.
And it was right. It was right at the end of the round, too, just like we were talking about with that knockdown in the 2nd round of Gaethje. That could be exactly the kind of thing that would make a difference for.
Oh, that's huge. That completely sealed that round.
Yeah, agreed.
There's no doubt. Yeah, they're smiling. They know. All he got to do is not get knocked out or submitted.
All right, here we go. 5th and final round. Fight could be very much on the line. Too many open-ended questions for security with the judging here for me, Frank. I think you're probably right, but you never know.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. Wow.
I do think those
won the 4th round. I didn't think that'd been possible.
Yeah, I do think those 2 knockdowns. Oh, God, another stiff left hook. Ferguson absorbs from Gaethje. I do think that that last second stiff shot from Gaethje sealing the 4th, the knockdown from Ferguson in the 2nd, those were offsetting. Give Gaethje the 1st round. At this point, it may just come down to the 3rd. And whichever way this one goes. Minute and a half gone in the 5th round. Oh, Justin Gaethje rocks Tony Ferguson with a left, followed by right. Tony Ferguson's hurt.
Yeah, he is.
He's trying to get
damage like this.
He's trying to get his back away from the fence. Gaethje was patient though. I mean, even though he had him rocked, he didn't jump in for the kill.
Yeah, because he knows he's winning. Oh,
yeah,
that was an Imanari roll.
Yeah, Eddie Bravo was calling for that earlier, and you were too, and he gave it a shot.
Oh, who was calling for it?
Eddie Bravo apparently in between rounds said something. Oh, yeah, this is Gaethje's round all day. He just shoves Tony Ferguson against the fence. Half of the round gone.
If somehow Ferguson pulls out a victory here, this was comeback of the year right now.
Yeah.
Because this is about, I mean, this is just might be a 10-8 round we're going into right now.
Yeah, Ferguson is showing all manner of damage on his face. Man, he's taking some hard shots from Gaethje. And Gaethje's not breathing heavy. Gaethje's cardio is great. Tony Ferguson's still coming forward, but now he's getting punished about every time he comes again. Oh my God. Tony Ferguson
stopped the fight.
It off. I think it's a good stoppage. I mean, Tony Ferguson was really starting to look like his eyes were going elsewhere in there. It's going to be a tough call for Herdine to make, but I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's actually a good call. I mean, Ferguson had a minute left of just, at that point, that last jab he took wasn't a hard shot compared to some of the stuff Gaethje's been throwing. Mm-hmm. And you see him just something. My initial reaction when I saw him was like, oh, I wonder if something cracked finally in his face. You know, at this point, you know, Ferguson's still a young man, you know what I mean? You know, early 30s. Why keep taking damage? He's not going to come back. He didn't, I mean, obviously there's always the, you know, Hail Mary shot, you know, like Overeem received, but it didn't look like that was apparently in the making, you know. I think he saved, you know, Ferguson from some real damage. Because at that point, Ferguson's having a hard time defending himself. You know, Could you imagine now, like, okay, here's the jab, boom. And now just look at him. He's just, right there. He's done. You know what I mean? Like, why? After everything we've seen, even that head shake like that, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, he just.
Yeah. And he was a sitting target for that straight left that he ate right before being waved it off. You're right. He's shaking his head almost like a reflexive action. That looks.
Yeah. He's just trying to get the cobwebs out. His bell's rung again. And at that point, I mean, Gaethje's head is clear as can be. There's going to come a shin to the head and take his head off if he wants to be vicious.
Yeah. All right. Well, Justin Gaethje stopped Tony Ferguson with probably just about a minute left in the 4th round. I agree with you, Frank. I think he was winning on scorecards.
I think he was pitching a shutout. I mean, maybe that second round because of the knockdown, but I mean, I'd be interested. You have to tell me, look into it, see what the scores were. That's the only round I would have given him because of that. You know, other than that, it was it looked like it was going to be 4 rounds to 1 at best.
Yeah.
For Ferguson.
Joe D says in the chat, review the fight. No corner work and no adjustments. Tony Ferguson was left out there. with a bag of props to use that used to be tricks. So, well, we'll go back and look at it and see what kind of corner.
Yeah, I got to hear what the cornermen were saying because
Yeah.
I had my volume off, obviously, because of what we're doing. I'd be interested to hear what they were. Yeah, they're not giving them many adjustments in between. That's,
Yeah.
I mean, hell, that's what you make a percentage. Your corner is supposed to be part of the tool set, you know?
Right.
But I'm not going to criticize. I don't know. I wasn't listening.
So Justin Gaethje is now going to be the UFC interim lightweight champion, which means he will, I would assume, be next for Khabib Nurmagomedov here. Again, in fact, Justin Gaethje has just thrown aside the interim lightweight belt. He wants no part of wearing it. He says, "I don't want that." Or Joe Rogan just asked him, "Why don't you want it on you?" I'm sure he's going to say he only wants the legitimate lightweight belt. All right. What do you think, Frank? All of a sudden now, talking about a fight between Justin Gaethje and Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Well, it just depends if he can stop the takedown. You know, Gaethje's wrestling. You know, I've heard he's a college wrestler. I'm going to have to go back and now look at what he's able to do. If he's able to nullify, you know, the takedown attempts from Khabib, he has a good shot. I mean, you know, Khabib had a hard time with, I always forget the kid's name, man, from New York.
Well, Al Quinta.
Yeah, Alaquinta. You know, Alaquinta had good hands, you know, and you know, looking at a similar style fight here, you have a really good striker in, you know, in Gaethje, who's probably a better striker than, you know, obviously, you know, more well-rounded as far as with kicks and hands than Alaquinta was. But, you know, Alaquinta was a black belt in jiu-jitsu, so that also was his asset that he brought to it. But more or less, he was able to really made it very difficult for Khabib to take him down. And, you know, if Gaethje can really stop Khabib's ground attacks on his feet, I think he's going to do very well.
Feels so weird after spending so many years at this point talking about Tony Ferguson and Khabib Nurmagomedov on and off again 5 times that now we're moving on.
Yeah, it'll be the fight we'll never know. You know what I mean? And that was actually my issue with making this fight, is now that fight is done. You know what I mean? Like, for the foreseeable future. You know, whereas we could have had the Ferguson and Khabib fight if we just sort of waited and then had the Gaethje jump in there and work its way through. But, you know, it's just not the way it was meant to be. Obviously, just destiny just didn't have that in plan because, you know, 5 cancellations obviously just wasn't meant to be.
Joe D says Khabib would rather take Conor over the meat grinder. Well, he definitely would rather take Conor in terms of the box office, I would think. But and that's certainly somebody he's already beat once. You think Gaethje makes a tougher matchup for Khabib than Conor?
Well, yeah, I mean, Gaethje has a good wrestling pedigree.
Yeah.
And so I think that makes it harder for, you know, Khabib. You know, Conor isn't, you know, once he gets taken down, you know, that's his, you know, has a big chink in his armor. You know, Gaethje, you know, as far as I remember, the only loss was Boyedi caught him with a shot, right? It was a pretty brutal war. It was on his feet, right? Not even on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, yeah, I think yeah, I would agree. Khabib matchup wise, it's an easier victory over Conor with a bigger payday.
Yeah.
Can you hear what they're saying without?
I'm just reading subtitles right now here. Actually, well, this is interesting. Tony Ferguson's being interviewed, which surprises me a little bit. They'd interview him after that the stoppage, but his head seems reasonably clear. He's telling everybody the weight cut had nothing to do with it. You know that, right? About how Tony Ferguson went in
2 weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah. Rogan's asking him what's next for him, basically. Yeah, it looks like pretty standard fare from Tony Ferguson in the comments. You know, got to go back and look at the tape kind of stuff. All right.
Cool.
Well, Croy says in the chat, great watch, gentlemen. Thanks again. Thank you, Croy, and everybody who tuned in for this. We really appreciate you watching it. We wanted to see if anybody would join along with us so we could consider doing these again. I would declare this a hit. Andre says, great to hang with you guys tonight. Until the next time in the phone booth, be well. You too, Andre. We appreciate everybody listening. Do us a favor before you log off, if you haven't already. Like and subscribe to our YouTube page, youtube.com/phone booth fighting. If that's where you're streaming us, if you're over there on our Phone Booth Fighting Facebook page, just like that page if you haven't already. I'm going to throw up a banner one more time for phoneboothfighting.com for a couple of reasons. A reminder that for tonight only, if you make any t-shirt purchase inside our phoneboothfighting.com store and use the promo code UFC249, we will send you a free autograph poster. Also, Frank, go ahead and tell them why there are a couple of banners on the front of phoneboothfighting.com. One of them links to Amazon, the other links to American Shaman. Tell them what that's all about.
Yeah, American Shaman CBD, great CBD company. I use it religiously. Click on there, go through, get a discount on your orders. Also, if you want to help us out here at the show, by clicking on the Amazon banner, by doing your shopping on the Amazon there, and if your purchases, a small percentage comes back here to help us out at the show at no extra cost to you.
That's it. And we encourage everybody to go over there, check out those links, and of course, check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/phone booth fighting is where we throw up weekly premium content over there in addition to the free episode that comes to you via YouTube and iTunes, and wherever podcasts are available. Above everything else, please just tell a friend about Phone Booth Fighting. And that's how we will grow this thing organically. Anything else, Frank, before we bid each other adieu for the evening?
Oh, man, some good fights tonight. We'll have to make sure we do this again.
It was enjoyable indeed. Thanks to everybody who joined us. For Frank Mir, I'm Richard Hunter, and we'll see you right back here next time on Phone Booth Fighting.